A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A pair of hold-up men have been operating in your city. You know their method of operation. You know what they look like. Your job, get them.
It was Wednesday, June 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 10:14 a.m. when we got to the corner of Roberta and Mercury, the after-hours cafe.
Yeah, what'll it be?
Would like to see Harry Prentice?
Yeah, I'm him. What do you want?
Police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, all right. About last night, huh?
Yeah. Were you here?
Yeah, sure was. I'm the only one's got a key. Place is open. I'm here.
Yes, sir. Now about the robbery?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
Would you tell us what happened?
Should have read the papers this morning. All about it in there. Got a couple of copies if you want to see them.
No, that won't be necessary.
No trouble at all. Happen to have a couple of copies right here. Yeah, here, take a look right here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I'll read it to you. Last night at the After Hours Cafe, I wish I'd given the address. At the After Hours Cafe, two gunmen held up and beat Jeffrey Hanks. The victim was approached outside the bar, and when asked for his money...
Yes, sir. Now, we saw all that. We'd just like to hear your version if we could.
Oh, okay. What do you want to know?
Did you see the men?
The gunmen?
That's right.
Yeah, sure. I told the other cops I did. Gave them a description and everything.
Uh-huh. You notice anything about their speech, an accent, maybe?
No. I asked them what they wanted. One, a big one, he ordered a scotch and the rocks. The other one asked for plain grapefruit juice, no booze, just the juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lucky I had it. Got a couple of cans in for vodka drinks. Don't get a lot of call for it. Guy drank all I had.
Mm-hmm. When did the victim come in?
You mean Hanks?
Yeah.
Oh, must have been about 8:30, someplace in there.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in, sat down.
Had you seen him before?
No, brand new face.
Mm.
Nice-looking guy, though. Kind you like to have for regulars.
That's all?
Yeah, quiet, good drinker. Doesn't bother the singles at the bar. Nice, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I had a place full of them. I wouldn't have no worries.
How do you happen to get mixed up with the other two, do you know?
Yeah, you mean Hanks?
That's right.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. Poured him a martini, left him alone.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, lady type, was here. Was talking to her. Her and her boyfriend been having trouble. We belted her around a little bit. Not bad. Couple of scratches. You know what I mean.
I think so.
Well, she was asking me what to do. We've been friends for a long time, since I opened the place. Anyway, we was talking, so I didn't see what happened.
Yeah.
All I know is that the three of them got up and moved to the booth in the back. Ordered another round.
Uh-huh.
I hardly got the drinks back to the table, and they was ready for another one.
Go ahead.
Kept running from the bar to their table for the next couple of hours.
You hear anything they were saying?
No, not much. The one who was drinking scotch, he got a little plastered and loud. Told him a couple of times to shut up. Said I'd have to 86 him if they didn't.
Yeah.
Kept it up, so I told him to leave. Didn't take it kindly.
How do you mean that?
Well, it started to get rough, telling me that they didn't have to take no guff from a barkeep.
No.
Well, I told him I wasn't drinking a grapefruit juice. I told him to get his friends out. He says, we're not causing any trouble. And I said, that's the way I want to keep it.
Uh-huh.
So he said for me to leave him alone, and I said to the grapefruit, I said for him to leave right then. I don't want you in my place, I said.
Yeah.
Well, and so Scotch on the rocks, he said, tell this cat to go hide his head. Like that, he said. And turned the bear loose. And I grabbed the both of them, threw them out through the door. O-U-T.
Yeah.
And I went back to the other guy, nice-looking one. He was pretty gassed by then. Had about 8 martinis. Asked him to leave. He did.
Yeah. Did you have any trouble with him?
No, sir. Just asked. He walked out.
Were the other two outside when he left?
Yeah, standing on the sidewalk. I told him to shove off or I'd call the cops. Old Scotch on the rocks. He said for me to go soak my head. Well, I was going after him, but I figured it wouldn't do no good, so I came back inside. A couple of minutes later, the nice guy, Banks.
Hanks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he came in, all beat up, clothes torn, real mess.
Yeah.
Big cut right along here, forehead. Said he'd been robbed, wanted me to call the cops.
Had you ever seen either of the two men before?
You mean Scotch and rocks and Griffin?
That's right.
No, never did.
What if you take a look at this description, see if it's right? Here.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Glad to help her. Yeah, that looks about right.
Is there anything you can add to it?
No, there's a couple of guys. At the bottom would stand out.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
Hard to say, you know what I mean.
Yes.
A couple couple of guys came in and ordered a drink. Nothing special. Not sure I could point them out for you. Anybody'd forget them.
Not quite.
Huh?
We won't. A.m. We left the bar and went back to the city hall. We checked with the stats office and picked up the results of their latest run. They listed 4 possibles, but when we read the names, we were no closer to the hold-up men than we had been. The names were ones that we checked and cleared before. Frank and I went back to robbery. There was a message for us to see Captain Donahoe. We went into his office.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. No, as far as I know, there's nothing new on it. That's right. Uh-huh. They just came in. What? All right. I'll let you know right away. Yeah. Bye. Come on in.
Hi, Skipper.
Captain. That was Chief Brown. Been calling all morning.
Yeah.
You know what he wants? What do I tell him?
Well, we talked to the bartender. He can't give us anything.
What about the victim?
Not much there either.
Able to come up with a name?
No, said he didn't hear anything.
That's a big help.
Well,
Sit down.
thank you.
Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks, Skipper.
Smith?
Yes.
I got it.
Thanks, Joe.
From the beginning. What do you got?
Well, good M.O., good description. We got an idea of a line they're working, and that's about it.
What about stats?
Just picked up the new run, 4 names.
What's on them?
Clean. They all been checked before.
Got to be something around town on them.
Well, there should be, but there just isn't.
How about your informants?
No, they haven't been able to tell us anything.
Straight?
No reason they should lie.
Victims and witnesses seen the mug books?
All we got. They haven't been able to come up with an identification. Burton up at CII sent all the stuff he's got on the method of operation. We've checked it all through.
What about the places they could spend the money?
Well, we've been to Gardena half a dozen times. There's nothing out there.
What about Vegas?
Talked to the department over there. They're giving us all the help they can, but they haven't turned anything yet. We even got the racetracks covered.
Possible you missed something?
Sure, it's possible. I don't know what it could be.
If you knew, you wouldn't have missed it.
Yeah.
From the beginning, go over it.
Okay. First report was made on, wait a minute. Got it here. Here it is. Tuesday, April 26th. Victim came out of the bar. 2 men stopped him, started a conversation, got him into a car, beat him, and robbed him.
6 weeks ago.
That's right.
And the guys are still running.
Next one was on Friday, April 29th. Same M.O., same description.
How often has it been happening since?
A couple of times a week.
You can't find a leak?
No, sir.
No rumbles?
None that we haven't run down.
Anybody in the office got anything?
We talked to Meade and Stromwell. I thought they had it made for us, but their lead didn't go anyplace.
That money they're getting isn't sitting in their pockets, being spent someplace.
We can't find the cash register.
I'll tell you this. The fellow they nailed last night, what's his name?
Jeffrey Hanks.
Yeah. Well, he's got some friends in the city hall. They're pretty upset about what happened. Called the chief this morning. He's been on me. I'm giving it to you. He won't be happy with excuses, and I don't want to give him any, so don't hand me any.
Right.
Boils down simple. I don't care how you do it. I don't care where. Just get it done. I want those 2 men, and I want them fast.
All right.
I know how it is. Now you do, too.
Yes, sir.
I don't like the pressure any more than you do. We're getting it all the way around.
People that are making the noise should follow us around for a couple of days.
That's the difference. They don't have to.
Huh?
You're getting paid.
Frank and I went over every piece of information we had on the case. We reread the reports that had been filed by the officers at the scene. Statements from witnesses and victims were gone over again. The names the stats office had given us were run through R&I again. None of it did any good. We still didn't have a lead to the identity of the thieves. 3 days passed while we talked to informants and questioned other sources of information. On Sunday, June 12th, we got back to the office from talking to a bartender out on Olympic Boulevard.
Well, that's another one didn't go anyplace.
Yeah, you want to get the book?
Yeah.
I got it. Robbery Friday. Uh-huh. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, where's the place? Hmm? Wait a minute. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I guess the word's all over. Yeah. Okay, we'll check it out. Thanks, boy. Right, bye.
There's nothing in the book. They called, want to know if you could make it for dinner tonight. Got a barbecue plan.
You better call it off.
You got other plans?
That was McCready on the phone. He just got a call from a bartender out in Wilshire.
Yeah.
Woman crying in her beer. Says he figured we want to check it out.
What is it?
She said her boyfriend is one of our suspects. The bar Sergeant Jack McCready had mentioned was on the corner of Wilshire Boulevard and Ingram Street. There were 2 people in the place when we arrived. One, an elderly man sitting near the door, and the other, a middle-aged woman at the rear of the bar. We checked with the bartender, and he told us that he'd made the call. He went on to say that the woman had come in about 10 that morning. Since that time, she'd been crying and mumbling something about going to the police. Frank and I went back to talk to her.
Yeah? You looking for something?
I understand that you want to talk to the police.
What's that got to do with you?
Well, my name is Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How you do?
You're cops, huh?
What do you want to see us about, lady?
That bum Derwin, that's what it's about. Bum.
What's his name, is it? Derwin?
Yeah, real no good. Look what he done to me all the time, hadn't me? I think we was married. All the time.
What's his last name, do you know?
Holbrook. Derwin Holbrook. You like to buy me a drink?
I think you had enough of that, lady.
Well, that's where you're wrong. I'm supposed to show you don't know what you're talking about. And then you went to me at all, you haven't caught Derwin, none.
What's he done?
Hold-ups.
Ma'am?
Hold-ups. That's what he's done. All over town. Old Derwin's been holding people up.
See your husband?
Me? Derwin's wife?
That's right.
That's real funny. No, that is. Me and Derwin married. I don't think I wouldn't do it. Not for a minute, don't think it. But it ain't true. Not at all. No, sir. Derwin is just a friend.
Uh-huh.
Been a friend for 12 years. That's a long time.
That's right.
Been holding hands for 12 years. But we ain't married. You don't want to.
Will you tell us about the holdups that he's been pulling?
Been in all the papers. You haven't read it? All the papers. Are you sure you're cops?
Why don't you tell us about Derwin? Huh?
Lousy. All the time. Talking about how someday we'd get married. All the time. Talking like that. I got a couple of bucks put away and we'll take the big step. That's what he was all the time saying. It's a big step.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? He has a couple of bucks and he takes off with another girl. Lousy bum there was. He's miserable.
Now, where'd he get the money?
Hold up. Like on the paper. I told you that before. He's the one you're after. He's beating up all those people in front of bars. He's pretty good at beating people up, you know. He's good at that. Not much else, but he's real good at that.
You ever talked about the holdups to you?
Oh, now, that'd be kind of silly, wouldn't it? Talking to anybody. Let alone me.
Well, how do you know he's involved?
Well, just because I know, that's all.
What's this fellow look like?
The Derwin?
That's right.
I guess the person would say she was a real nice-looking fellow. I guess that's what you'd say. I would.
Mm-hmm.
He's got dark hair. Kind of a little wave right here. You hear? See?
Yeah.
In front. A little wave.
Mm-hmm. How tall is he?
Oh, he's a big one.
Well, how tall?
About 6 feet.
Mm-hmm. How much does he weigh?
I don't know. I guess a couple of 100 pounds.
Is he fat or thin?
Kind of thin. Thin.
Mm-hmm. How old is he?
38. 38 years old. 2 years older than me. 2 years.
What color are his eyes?
Brown.
Has he ever been arrested?
Hmm?
I say, has he ever been arrested?
I don't know. Maybe he has. He's never said nothing to me, not a word.
Want to run it through?
Yeah, I'll check.
You going to arrest him?
We'll talk to him.
Yeah. You do that. You tell him from me I think he's a bum. For 12 years, you didn't tell me when he gets a couple of bucks, we take a step. Then he runs out with another girl, lousy Derwin.
You know where we can find him?
I don't know. I guess he's home. I don't know the place else he'd be. Home?
Mm-hmm. You have the address?
Sure. It's 1827 half Margot Street.
What's that?
Can't you hear very well? 1827 and a half Margot Street.
Okay, I got it.
Hillside 75321. That's where he lives.
Hillside 75321.
That's what I said. On the second floor, Margot Street.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any close friends that you know of?
Sure, the girl he walked out with. She's a close friend.
Any men?
Nope. Durham don't like nobody on his back. He likes to be alone. No fellas he's close to. None.
John.
Yeah. Excuse me a minute, lady.
Oh, yeah, sure. You go to head. Tell the bartender to another drink now.
What do you got?
Oh, I checked R&I on Holbrook.
How's he stand?
Found a couple that fit the description. One of them might be good.
Oh.
No time for robbery.
Do you owe anything?
No, got out clean.
Wonder if he stayed that way. Frank and I left left the bar and drove over to the Margot Street address. We checked with the landlady. She told us that Holbrook had moved in approximately 6 weeks before. She went on to say that he'd been behind in his rent, but that he'd paid what he owed and had given her the money for an additional 2 months. She said that she didn't know what he did for a living. He had few visitors, and the landlady couldn't tell us if he owned a car. According to her, he was in his room. Frank and I went up to see him.
Here it is.
Oh.
You said?
No.
Who is it?
Derwin Holbrook?
Just a minute.
What do you want?
Police officer.
Hey! You got no right to bust in here like this. There's nothing wrong.
And you won't mind if we look around, will you?
Oh, go ahead. You won't find anything.
I'll check it now.
No.
You tell me what you want. Maybe I can give you a hand.
You just sit still there.
Sure, I got nothing to worry about. Tear the place apart. Just make sure you put it all back.
Yeah.
Right where you found it.
It's clean, Joe.
I could have told you that.
Sure you could.
Want to let me know why you're rousting me?
You work for a living?
Why?
Do you?
No.
The way we hear it, you're doing pretty well with the money.
I guess you'd say that.
You mind telling us where you got it?
Wise investment.
That's it, huh?
Sure. I read the financial page all the time. Couple of bucks here, couple more there. First thing you know, you're on your way to $1 million.
Yeah, well, the way it came to us, you might have made the money the hard way.
Whoever told you that's a liar.
So?
Sure. I got a pretty good idea who's got the big mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make any difference. You can't tag me for anything.
Why don't you tell us?
I will. You're beefing about the money. Well, you can't say I didn't make it from investments. I don't have to prove it. You do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to prove I didn't make it from investing.
I think we might be able to.
Go ahead.
I'll give you something else.
What?
I don't think you're going to like the interest. We took Derwin Holbrook back to the city hall and talked to him. For over an hour, he refused to admit any part in the holdups. We made arrangements for the victims to come down and see him. Witnesses were asked as special show-ups, but they failed to give us a positive identification. Holbrook's name came up on the overtime sheet, and he was released from custody. There was nothing we could do. Another week went by. Holbrook was kept under constant surveillance. Monday, June 20th. Frank and I were in the squad room.
Friday? Smith?
Yeah, Skipper, we're here.
Hi, Captain. What do you got?
Your boys did another job last night out in West L.A.
We didn't see the reports.
Just came in. Got a meeting with Orma this afternoon. Be there.
Homicide?
Yeah. Victim died without regaining consciousness.
Any description of the suspect?
Enough to know it's the two fellows you're after. How's your hot suspect? What's his name? Holbrook?
That's right.
Be able to keep him this time?
No, I don't think so.
What's the matter?
Report says the holdup took place at 10:15.
Yeah?
Holbrook was asleep at 9. We rechecked with the team of men who'd been keeping Derwin Holbrook under surveillance. They verified the fact that the suspect had been in his room at the time of the robbery and that there was no way for him to have left the apartment. We went out to the hospital and talked to the officer that had been with the latest victim. He said that the dead man hadn't said anything to help identify his assailant. We talked with a bartender at the place where the beating had occurred. He remembered 2 men in the bar, and he remembered them talking with the victim, but he was unable to tell us anything more. Additional broadcasts were gotten out. At the meeting with Captain Warman, it was decided that from that point, the investigation would be a joint operation between robbery and homicide. After the meeting, Frank, Captain Donahoe, and I met back in room 27.
Come on in. Sit down.
Yeah?
Well, you heard it.
Yeah.
How are you going to work it?
There's only one way, rolling stakeout.
Thought you tried that route.
This time we'll use more cars.
Better work. This latest one's really got the corner pocket screaming. How are you going to set it up?
Well, that job out in West L.A. is the first time he's moved out of Central. I think we can figure he'll be back.
That's playing it the long way.
There's nothing left.
I'll buy it. How's it going to work?
Can we take a look at the map over here? He's been hitting in this area along here. Up to now, we've had it covered in through here and here. Now we can put additional cars on these streets and maybe over here, huh?
How about a check system?
It'll be kind of hard to work out, Skipper. We'll be in a 3-way car. McCready and his partner will be in one. And that way we can keep tabs on what's going on.
When do you start?
Well, if we can swing it tonight.
Talk to McCready?
No, not the whole thing. We went over part of it.
What's he think?
He goes with us. It's the only way.
Then it better come through for you.
Hmm?
You don't get another chance.
At 7:20 that night, the rolling stakeout began. It continued for another week. Several arrests were made, but when the suspects were checked, they were ruled out as the ones that we were looking for. In the meantime, the hold-up men hit twice more in the area under surveillance. Bartenders started closing their places early. Pressure from citizens groups and newspapers got a little worse. Apparently, there was nothing we could do to stop the thieves. Tuesday, June 28th. We stopped for something to eat.
Now it's going to be another long night.
I hope we get something out of it.
Yeah. Howdy, fellers. What'll it be?
A couple of eggs over easy. I get it. A side order of bacon.
Well, thank you. How about you? That sounds good, Joe. I'll have the same. Only make my eggs straight up, will you? And I'll have a side order of ham.
Righto.
And 2 coffees. Will you bring them right away?
Sure thing. I'll get them for you right now.
Listen, I got to get home.
I'll have a cup of coffee. I'll drop you off.
Wife's going to be sore if I don't make it pretty quick.
Well, let her be sore. That's the trouble with women today. All the time trying to run our lives.
That's right.
Have your coffee. We'll meet my friend. You'll like him.
I feel so good. Maybe I ought to leave now.
Look, you'll be all right. Just take it easy.
Joe. Tall guy. That's a description. Looks like he might be setting one up.
Let's take it.
Wife gives you any trouble, stay with us. You one?
Wonder if you'd let us take a look at your identification.
Why?
Because I asked you.
Who are you?
Police officer.
Watch out.
Come on. Come here. Cop. Shoving me around.
What's all this about? We didn't do nothing.
Now, don't worry about it.
You got nothing to hold me on. Nothing.
We'll talk about it downtown. Come on, let's go.
What's your charge? You got to make one.
Come on.
You got to make a charge. You can't take me without it.
All right, try suspicion of robbery.
Not for me.
You keep believing that fellow.
I will. You're out on a limb, cop. You got nothing. I'll be free in a couple hours.
You got it wrong.
Tell me about it.
We won't have to.
Huh?
We'll let the jury do it. We took the suspect back to the city hall. He was identified as Emmett Noonan. He refused to admit any part in the holdups. He wouldn't tell us who the friend was that he'd mentioned to the intended victim. A check of R&I revealed that he'd served sentences at San Quentin and at Folsom for armed robbery. We pulled his mug shot, and a team of detectives went out to check with the victims. It was an hour before they got back to the office. We talked to him, and then we went to see Noonan.
Decide to turn me out now?
No, not quite.
When are you going to give up, cop? You got nothing to make a charge on. You know it. I don't know how long you want to play this game, but I'd like to get home and get some sleep.
We just got word from the officers who checked your picture with the victims.
Yeah?
They gave us a positive identification.
Nothing different about me. Lots of guys look the same.
Why don't you come off at noon? We got you made and you know it.
I don't know anything of the kind, cop. You're saying one thing, I say different. It's my word against yours. We'll see who the court believes.
We got a head start.
How do you figure that?
Fits the way you work.
Any record I got, you can't mention in court. As far as they're concerned, I'm clean. You want to call it a day? We can all get some sleep.
What do you do for a living, Noonan?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Different things.
Name them.
Magazines, sometimes hosiery. Different things.
Yeah, when's the last time you worked?
6 months ago.
How have you lived since then?
They saved my money.
You know, you're in for more than a robbery charge.
I'm not standing that.
Man out in West L.A. died.
That's too bad. I didn't see anything about it in the papers. Only way I'd have known.
Who was the guy with you on the job?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know we'll get to him. Why not save yourself a lot of time?
I don't know nothing of the kind. You guys are out of your skulls.
All right, Noonan. Let's go.
Now you can unlock the door?
Yeah, this one.
Where are we going?
Main jail.
For how long?
Until they pass sentence.
You sound pretty sure.
We are. Come on.
It's too bad about you guys.
What's that?
How long you been working on these robberies?
A couple of months.
And I'm your pigeon.
You're the man.
Must make you feel kind of lousy. Be so sure and then find out you're wrong. You know, if I keep my mouth shut, you aren't going to have a case.
You know, fella, I'm going to tell you real simple. We can identify you positively. We got a dozen people who are going to get up on a stand and point you out as the man who knocked them down and walked on them. The time we get through with you, we'll have enough on you for a 5-minute deliberation.
You're ruling out one thing, cop.
Yeah, what's that?
The jury. All I need is one person who won't go with the rest of them. One who doesn't listen.
You got it all figured out.
Sure. One person doesn't care, I got it made. Just one.
Well, then you're in real trouble.
Huh?
We'll find 12 who do.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 19th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California in and for the County of Los Angeles. Further investigation resulted in the arrest of Jerome Nathan Pollock as an accomplice in the robberies. Both he and Emmett David Noonan were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to return a recommendation of leniency, and both men received the maximum sentence. They were put to death in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A watch salesman tells you his sample case has been stolen. He says he knows the men who did it. Your job? Find them.
It was Tuesday, October 4th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We're on our way into the office, and it was 7:46 a.m. when we got to room 27A. Robbery.
I'll check the book.
All right. Anything for us?
No. Stayed to the movies last night.
Well?
Yeah, darn good double bill. Mystery and a comedy. Sure had me fooled.
What?
The mystery had me fooled. I never can figure out who done it.
Yeah.
It was this rich society girl.
Mm-hmm.
She lived in the penthouse, top floor, real modern kind of glass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we found her lying outside in the roof garden part, and the doors were all locked, and the police had to break them down to get in. As soon as they got in...
Yes, sir.
I'd like to report a robbery. Is this the right place?
Yes, sir. You want to sit down?
Oh, thanks. My name's Liggins, Russell Liggins.
Can you spell it, please?
Yeah, it's Liggins. Liggins.
Mm-hmm. This is Frank Smith. My name is Friday.
I'm pleased to meet you.
How you doing?
I suppose you tell us what happened, Mr. Liggins.
Be okay to smoke?
Sure, go ahead.
You fellas care for a cigarette?
Yeah, thank you. Here, I have a light. Frank?
Thanks. Thank you. Well, it was my own fault to begin with. It just wasn't using my head.
Uh-huh.
The company ought to fire me. I wouldn't blame them if they did.
What company is that?
Sentinel Watch Company up in Seattle.
I see.
It's a new outfit. They import movements from Japan and put them in cases over here and wholesale them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of their head salesmen. I came down for the Jewelers Convention.
I see.
The convention ended yesterday, and I was supposed to leave for home this morning, 9 o'clock plane. I guess I have to take a later flight now.
Yes.
Oh, I've all the dumb stunts. Practically handed him my sample case on a silver platter. Over 100 watches. Our best stuff. A lot of them in jeweled cases. Company wanted to make a good impression, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd the robbery take place, Mr. Liggins?
Front of the hotel. For all intents and purposes, that is.
Which hotel is it?
The Greystone. That's where I've been stopped.
I see. Do you have any idea who robbed you?
The best idea in the world.
Yeah.
Spent a couple of hours with him last night.
Yeah?
You see, what happened is this. Like I said, the convention was over yesterday and wound up about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And, well, I had the whole evening ahead of me, nothing to do.
Go ahead.
I had dinner there at the hotel, a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Stole too early to go to bed, so I thought I'd look the town over, you know?
Mm-hmm. Stopped
by Pershing Square and listened to those characters spouting off, and along about 10 o'clock I headed back toward the Greystone. Passed the bar and decided to go in for a nightcap.
Do you remember the name of the bar?
No, I'm afraid not. It's just a couple blocks from the hotel, though. Had a nice little combo in there, played pretty good music. So I sat down for a while.
Yeah.
I guess I had a little too much to drink. Oh, I wasn't drunk or anything like that, but had my share.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been a little higher. I wouldn't have got started talking to a couple of strangers the way I did.
Yeah.
They were sitting next to me, these two fellas. We got to chatting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was about music at first. They seemed to be enjoying it. One thing led to another, and they bought me a drink, and I had to pay them back, of course.
Yes, sir.
Asked me what line I was in. I told them I sold watches. Said I was in town for the jewelry convention. They took a real big, said that's why they were here, too. Claimed they had a jewelry store in Salt Lake City.
They mentioned their names?
Oh, sure. They introduced themselves, but it didn't sink in. Not their last names, anyhow. George and Paul. Yeah, that's all I can remember.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, they started complaining about the quality of the watches they'd been shown. Said they hadn't seen anything worth buying. Well, so I asked them if they'd looked at my samples, and they said they didn't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I offered to make an appointment to show them my stuff. Figured I could stay over an extra day on the chance of making a good sale. And they said that wouldn't be necessary for me, to stay over. Said they could meet me this morning before I left for the airport.
So did you set up an appointment?
Yes, sir. I told them it'd have to be early if I was still going to catch my plane, and that was fine with them. The earlier, the better. They agreed to meet me at 7 a.m. They even offered to drive me to the airport. Couldn't ask for anything more than that, could I?
No, sir.
Well, anyway, I come downstairs about 6:45 and checked out, and they were supposed to pick me up in front of the hotel.
Yeah.
Well, about 5 to 7, they come by. I hopped in the car, and we drove off. We hadn't gone more than a mile or so, and they pulled over and parked. Quiet street, not much traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them why they were stopping there. I figured I'd shown them my watches out at the airport. They said they wanted to look at them now.
What was that again?
They said that they want to look at them right now, in the car.
The watches?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And it struck me as kind of funny. I didn't see where it would make any difference. And I opened up the case, and they just sort of glanced inside. And then one of the fellows, the one named George, he took out a gun, started shoving me through the door. And I tried to argue with him. I wasn't getting anywhere, though.
Pulled a gun, huh?
Yeah. And he, kind of pushed me with it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I asked him to please at least give me my suitcase. I said it wouldn't be worth anything to them, but I needed it. And they tossed it out on the street beside me and drove off.
I see. What about your wallet? Did they take your wallet, too?
Oh, no, just the sample case. I guess they were in a hurry, didn't want to spend a lot of time there on the street in broad daylight or something.
Oh, I see.
As soon as they left, I started looking around for a cab. Had to walk a couple of blocks before I found one. And then I got him to bring me right here.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a car did they drive, do you know?
The fellows that robbed me?
That's right.
Sedan. I think it was black. A Ford.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the license?
No, I didn't even think of trying that until after they were out of sight.
Well, now, can you describe these men for us, please?
Oh, sure. Well, they were about 40, medium-sized. George had black hair. And the other fellow, he had sort of sandy hair. You know?
I see. Any marks or scars?
I don't think so.
How were they dressed?
Suits. Conservative. Blue or kind of gray, maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Were they wearing the same clothes this morning?
Oh, no, I don't know. They had on top coats today.
I see.
Now, you said their names were George and Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else that might help us identify them?
Gosh, I'm afraid not.
Do you have a list of serial numbers from your watches?
Oh, yes.
May we see it?
Yeah, it's in my wallet. Yeah, just a minute. There you go.
Thanks very much. I'll get out of circular, Joe.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want from me?
Yes, sir. We'd like to have you show us the bar where you met these men.
Well, no, sir, I'm not sure I can. A lot of bars in the neighborhood, and I didn't pay too much attention.
You said they had a combo there?
Yeah.
Well, that ought to make it easier.
Well, sure do my best.
Yes, sir.
I have to get my airline ticket changed, too.
We'd appreciate it if you stay over a couple of days.
Oh?
In case we turn them up, we'll need you to identify them.
Well, there isn't much chance of that, is there?
What do you mean?
Well, the descriptions I gave you could be anybody.
Yeah.
Besides, the company will want me back on the job. That is, if they don't fire me for this.
Well, you know, you weren't the only thing I want back.
Huh?
I want those watches, too. Frank and I checked the M.O. and the descriptions Russell Liggins had given us with the stats office. They came up with 11 possibles. We took the names to R&I and pulled the packages. Liggins was unable to identify any of the mug shots. 10:13 a.m. We cruised the vicinity of the Greystone Hotel looking for the bar where Liggins had first met the suspect. He told us the Green Hat Cafe on 6th Street seemed familiar, but he wasn't certain. We left him in the car and we went inside to interview the bartender.
Look, you boys know me. I run a nice, clean place. Don't even cut the liquor.
Yeah, sir.
I ain't caused you no trouble. Why don't you lay off?
Just a couple of questions for you, Sam.
Sure. A couple of questions. Next thing I know, I'm testifying in court.
You got something you ought to testify about?
No, of course not. I'm just talking.
Well, then talk to us, huh?
Okay. What do you want?
You on the job here last night?
Yeah.
All evening.
All evening. I got a little combo working in the joint now. They cost money. There's nothing left over for extra bartenders.
You see that fellow out in the car?
Where?
Right over here, Sam. Lean over. See? Out there.
Yeah, I see.
Take a good look at him.
All right, I look good.
He ever been in your place?
Like when?
Last night.
The bar was real crowded last night. Music helps the business.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been here.
Well, yes or no, Sam?
Yeah, he was here.
Alone?
Yeah, he came in alone.
Mm-hmm.
He took that stool over there, had a few drinks, and left.
Mm-hmm. Did you talk to anybody?
He talked to me.
What did he say?
He liked the music, that's about all.
Who else he talked to?
A girl sitting next to him.
Was she?
Well, I don't know her name. She comes in once in a while, kind of nice looking.
There were a couple of men in here, too, weren't there, Sam?
Well, there were a lot of guys. Why?
Well-dressed, middle-aged?
Could be.
They talked to him, too, did they?
The fellow in your car?
Same guy, yeah.
Well, if they did, I didn't see him.
Had quite a conversation.
I didn't hear it. Music's pretty loud.
Who were they, Sam?
Look, I don't ask for a driver's license unless the guy looks like he's under...
Come on,
21.
Sam. Who are they?
He's Connie. That friend of yours out there.
Yeah.
End stool, that's where he sat.
Uh-huh.
The girl was next to him the whole evening.
Well?
He couldn't have talked to nobody else.
We took Liggins into the Green Hat Cafe, and he said he was certain that was where he had met the two men known as George and Paul. Sam Huppel, the owner of the bar, was equally certain that Liggins was mistaken. 10:48 a.m. Frank and I drove Liggins over to the Greystone Hotel. While he went inside to re-register, we talked with the cab drivers who were stationed at the stand next to the main hotel entrance. One of them told us he had been parked there from about 6:30 until 7:15 a.m. that morning.
Thought I was never going to give me a fare. When it starts like that, the whole day's shot. Look at me now. Been sitting here for the last 25 minutes.
Did you see a man come out of the hotel about 5 minutes to 7?
I was watching those doors real anxious. If he came out, I saw him.
Same fellow we just let on.
Oh.
You remember him?
Sure.
Did you notice the car he drove off in?
You kidding?
What do you mean?
This hack of mine.
Huh?
He was my first fare this AM.
You picked him up here.
That's right. Wasn't 5 or 7, though. Closer to 7:30.
Where'd you take him?
City Hall.
We went into the hotel and talked to the desk clerk. He told us that Liggins had been assigned the same room he had previously occupied, 417. He also told us that he was almost positive Liggins had not carried a sample case when he checked out that morning. We talked to the bellhop who had brought down Liggins' baggage. He said Liggins had only one suitcase. 11:13 a.m. Frank and I went up to room 417.
Come in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very kind of you. Oh, I'll be with you as soon as I get off the phone.
It's okay.
Yes, sir. Well, a day or two, I guess, if that's all right. No, they didn't take my money. Thanks, I can manage. Oh, just one thing. Would you ask one of the girls to call my wife and explain the delay? Oh, thank you very much, sir. Bye. Well, I was just talking to the boss in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's all right for me to stick around a few days.
Good.
Now, you really think you can find those guys that fast, huh?
Well, we may not have to look for them.
What do you mean?
We've been checking your story, Liggins.
Yeah?
Leaks like a sieve.
Well, that lousy bartender, huh? You taking his word against mine?
No, we get more than the bartender.
Oh?
The cab driver says he picked you up here at 7:20 and drove you down to City Hall.
Well, he's crazy.
Didn't have it in person.
He must have picked up somebody who looks like me, that's all.
We talked to the bellhop who brought down your luggage. There wasn't in the sample case.
I carried it myself. I wasn't going to let a bellhop handle something as valuable as that.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't notice it, that's all.
The desk clerk didn't notice it either.
Well, I stood in front of his desk when I paid up. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want from me?
Just tell us what happened to the sample case.
I've told you the whole story.
There's one thing you left out.
What's that?
The truth. We continued to question Russell Liggins in his hotel room. He insisted that he'd been telling us the truth. We confronted him with the cab driver, the desk clerk, the bellhop. He refused to change his story. 1:05 p.m., we drove Liggins down to the City Hall for further interrogation.
How much are the watches worth?
The wholesale or retail?
Both ways.
About 4,000 wholesale, maybe 10 retail.
A lot of money.
Well, sure.
The boss upset.
Well, he wasn't very happy about it.
He was insured, didn't he? Well, come on.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't you know?
Yeah, he's insured. He said so over the phone. He told me not to worry.
Mm-hmm. You didn't know about the insurance before.
What if I did?
Maybe we better talk to your boss. What's his number? Come on, fella. What's his number?
Well, what are you going to tell him?
That you've been handing us a line about being robbed?
Well, you think I robbed myself? Is that what you're getting at?
What else can we think?
Oh, you're crazy.
Where are the watches?
Somebody stole them.
Yeah, George and Paul.
Well, okay. It wasn't George and Paul.
Go ahead.
I made it up. The whole thing about them. You know, the fellas. I had to tell you something.
Sure you did.
Well, you want the truth, don't you? Well, you're getting it. Least you can do is try to believe it.
You make it kind of hard to buy.
Look, I went into that bar last night just like I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And the bartender was right. I didn't talk to anybody except the girl sitting beside me.
Yeah.
Well, she said she came in because she liked the music. And I was feeling kind of lonesome. I don't know anybody in L.A., so we started to talk. Said her name was Barbara. Didn't give me her last name because she was married and she wanted to keep things on a first-name basis. And that was all right with me. I told her to call me Russ.
Yeah.
She said her husband worked nights, one of the aircraft plants.
Mm.
And I told her about my job, that I sold watches. She kind of laughed when I told her.
What about?
Well, it was a big coincidence. Me being a watch salesman, she was planning to buy a watch. Told me the one she had was ready to give up the ghost.
I see.
Then she showed it to me on her wrist. A real cheap kind, just a piece of junk.
Yeah.
Well, she asked me if maybe I could get her a new one wholesale, and I said I might be able to arrange it. Then I suggested she come up to my room and look at the samples I had there.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't up to anything. I figured we'd have a couple of drinks, but that was all.
Sure.
And then she kind of hesitated, said it wouldn't look very good. And finally she agreed. We went over to the hotel, and I had a bottle in my room, and I fixed us a drink. And then I showed her the watches. She picked out the one she liked, but she didn't have any money with her, not enough to pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
And I told her she could have it for free. You know, as a present.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an expensive model, and I was going to pay the company back out of my own pocket. So she took off her old watch, and she put it in her purse. And she put the new one on.
All right, go ahead.
And then she said we ought to have a couple more drinks, you know, to kind of celebrate the present. But she offered to fix it. Well, maybe she put something in mine, or maybe they were just strong. I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember much after that.
What'd you do, pass out?
Yeah, I guess so. Next thing I knew, it was morning, about 6:30, and I'd fallen asleep on the bed with all my clothes on.
Yeah.
That must be why she didn't take my wallet.
All right, what happened then?
Well, I didn't think anything was wrong. I couldn't remember when Barbara left, but I've blacked out before when I've had a little too much.
Yeah.
So I took a shower and I got dressed. And it was while I was dressing I noticed the sample case was gone. I looked everywhere for it.
You figure she took it?
Now, who else could? Boy, you guys are pretty hard to convince, aren't you?
Well, why didn't you tell us about Barbara when you first came in here?
Well, I was thinking of my job.
Yeah.
Boss just promoted me a couple of months ago. I'm doing pretty good. I'm making fair money.
Is that so?
Yeah, if he ever found out I let some dame roll me in a hotel room, well, I'd be out of my ear.
All right.
And that's not all. I got a wife. Helen, that's her name. You guys married?
He is.
Well, then maybe he'll understand. We've only been married a couple of years, and Helen doesn't like the idea of me being on the road half the time. She's suspicious enough as it is.
Yeah.
So I did some quick thinking, come up with the story I gave you this morning, about George and Paul. Well, it really wasn't my own idea exactly. What I mean is that I was talking to a salesman at the convention the other day, one of the real old-timers. He told me how some guys had robbed him once when he was just starting out, and that's where I got the idea. Sort of switched it around to fit what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't see where I was doing any harm. I never thought you'd be able to get the watches back anyhow.
Well, you didn't make it any easier for us.
Well, maybe not. But you don't know Helen. Well, she'd leave me sure as fate if this ever gets out.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cause you any trouble. It seemed to make any difference what I told you as long as the watches were gone.
No, it makes a difference.
Yeah?
If we want to find out who took them. 3:15 p.m. We went back to the Greystone Hotel and talked to the manager. He gave us the home telephone number of the elevator boy who had been on duty the previous night. We called the boy, and he told us he remembered taking a passenger who resembled Russell Liggins up to the third floor sometime after 2 a.m. in the morning. He also remembered that Liggins had been accompanied by a young lady. He did not remember bringing the lady down, but he suggested that she might have used the stairs. We called the crime lab, and they went over Liggins' room. They found no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence. 5:15 p.m., we went back to the office. Liggins gave us a description of the girl known to him as Barbara. We showed him some mug shots, but he was unable to identify any of the women. 7:18 p.m., Frank and I again interviewed the bartender at the Green Hat Cafe.
Well, what did I tell you? Just a couple of questions, that's all. Next thing I know, you guys have moved in for the winter.
All right, Sam, now take it easy.
Have I got any choice?
You remember the girl Liggins was talking to in here last night?
So it's a girl now. I thought it was two guys.
Oh, come on, Sam. You mentioned her yourself.
I never figured you fellows believed anything I told you.
We want to know who she is.
Just a girl, that's all. She comes in once in a while.
She got a name?
Never introduced herself.
She live in the neighborhood?
I don't know.
Well, who does?
Look, this Liggins is a character. He's already taken you for one ride today. Now, why don't you get off?
We'd like to get in touch with her, Sam.
Get in touch.
You gonna help?
Well, how can I help you? I don't know her name. I don't know her address.
Yeah, well, maybe you can find out.
I busted my crystal ball just the other day.
All right. We'll send in a couple of uniforms to watch your joint for a few days.
You got any objections?
Well, sure. Cops make me nervous. Like the customers nervous, too.
Maybe you got the wrong kind of customers.
What are you going to do? All right, talk to Jeanette.
Jeanette?
Yeah, the waitress. She's in the back room eating her chow.
She know the girl we're looking for?
Yeah, they're real buddy-buddy. Spend half their time chinning together. Never get any work out of Jeanette once the other one comes in.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
You know, there's something been worrying me.
What's that?
Whenever you guys show up, I make up my mind you're not going to get any answers from me. I'm not even going to give you the time of day. And then what happens? I end up telling you everything you want to know.
Maybe you just like it, Sam.
Yeah, that's what's been worrying me.
Frank and I walked back into the kitchen of the Green Hat Cafe, and we interviewed the waitress, Jeanette Grover. She told us that her friend's name was Barbara Hooper. She also told us that she had no idea where Barbara lived.
She used to have a room over on Western, but she moved when she got married.
How long ago was that?
3 weeks. Oh, no, let's see. It's longer. Oh, they went to Vegas on a Sunday. It'd be 4 weeks next Sunday.
You're sure you don't have her address, huh?
No, she gave it to me once, but I didn't take it down. I wouldn't have no use for it.
How's that?
I don't get along with Tom.
Tom?
Yeah, that's Barbara's husband. Tom Kernan. Oh, say, that's right. I guess I made a mistake.
Ma'am?
When you asked me what her last name was, I said it was Hooper. I should have said Kernan now.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know why she ever married him. A good-looking girl like Barbara. She sure could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
Tramp. That's all he is. Well, I told her what she's letting herself in for.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got a record as long as my right arm. I've seen him come and go. When you work in a place like this, you can spot a rotten apple a mile off.
Mm-hmm.
I never figured he'd get into trouble this fast, though. What do you want with her?
Just like to get in touch with her, that's all.
Oh, now, I know better than that about cops. They want to get in touch. They mean business. You mind me giving you a piece of advice?
Not at all.
I don't blame her, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's to blame, whatever she's done. You check into it and you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
The gal gets married to a wrong guy and lasses up her whole life. Not her fault.
Except for one thing.
Yeah?
She married him. We went back to the office and ran the name Thomas Kernan through the record bureau. They came up with a package. Kernan had served time for burglary and was now on active parole. We checked with Fred Galloway at adult parole. He told us that Kernan's last known address was an apartment on Western Avenue. We drove out there. Down here.
Yeah. Hey, here it is. Yeah, I'll say.
Wait a minute. All right.
Well, what do you want?
Come on, open up.
Okay, keep your hat on.
Police officer, stand still.
Who's moving?
It's clean, Joe.
Where's your wife? Out. Out where?
I don't know. She wasn't here when I came home.
We'll look around.
Be my guest. Always knew you guys rode as ex-cons. That ain't no surprise, but I didn't know you started picking on her wives, too.
No.
She's a nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start in on her. You stay on my back. I'm used to it, but let her alone.
Joe?
Yeah.
I found this case in the closet.
The watch is still inside.
Most of them, anyway.
All right.
The heck's that?
You didn't know about this?
Of course not.
Yeah, sure.
I never saw him before.
Your wife did.
Hmm?
How soon will she be back?
I don't know.
We'll wait.
Up to you. Never saw those watches before in my life, I'm telling you the truth.
You bet you are.
Even if Barbara did take them, that don't make me guilty of anything.
No.
Stupid broad. Once you start making with a question, she'll spill the whole deal.
But you didn't know anything about it.
Maybe I knew she was looking for a setup. What does that prove? Some setup. Guy with a suitcase full of watches. Busy dame didn't even know they had serial numbers on them. What a brain. First job she ever pulled, she gets picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Time I was her age, I'd pulled half a dozen. You cops hadn't even tumbled once.
You're real bright.
That's the use. They won't learn. Tried to teach her the ropes. Gets picked up on her first job.
You know, you should have expected that.
Why? What do you mean?
Look who taught her.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 2nd, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Thomas Carew Kernan was returned to the adult authority for violation of parole. Violation of parole is punishable by the term not served. Barbara Jane Kernan was found guilty of grand theft, 1 count. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year, or in the state prison for not less than 1, nor more than 10 years.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A man has been shot in a cheap hotel in the downtown area. There's no apparent motive for the attack. No lead to the identity of the assailant. Your job, find him.
It was Tuesday, January 11th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out a homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 5:26 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Yeah. We just have the call, Skipper. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's on the way in. That's right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, here he is now. Uh-huh. No, I haven't called him yet. Well, I didn't say anything. Okay, we'll keep in touch with him. Right. Bye.
What do you got, anything?
Yeah, shooting over on 5th. As soon as I check the crime lab, we can roll on.
Who's the victim?
Guy named Arthur McNeil. WMA, 62 years.
Did you say anything?
No, he ran out. Huh? 6 bullets in his head.
The Dragnet Hotel was located on 5th Street between Turner and Banning. It was an old, run-down building. A wooden sign over the entrance advertised rooms, 75 cents per night. Weekly rates available. Frank and I climbed one flight of wooden stairs that led to the lobby. By the time we'd gotten there, 2 black and white cars had arrived, and the uniformed officers were attempting to restore some sort of order in the place. We talked with them briefly, and then we met Mr. Ted Brendel, the night clerk who'd placed the original call.
I know what's going on, I tell you. No reason for me to try to hide nothing. I ain't mixed up in it.
We didn't say you were.
What?
I say we didn't say you were involved. We just want to find out what happened here.
Oh, come on in the office. Can't hear a word you're saying. Come on. Come on, talk in the office. Now then. Well, we can hear yourself talk. Sit down.
Thank you.
Just throw the clothes on the floor, toss them down, and take a seat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now about the shooting.
I was just finishing up, and all of a sudden I hear these noises. You know, like pow, pow. Loud, sharp.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure what they was at first. A lot of noise around here all the time. People falling out of bed, bottles breaking, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was loud enough, though. I figured I ought to take a look, so I went upstairs.
Yeah.
A couple other people were out in the halls trying to find out what the hullabaloo was all about. Wasn't anything to let anybody know.
Yes, sir.
Then I come to Mr. McNeil's room, 319 on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Door was open, wide. I looked in. There he was.
McNeil?
Yes, sir, laying right on the floor. Just kind of sprawled around like it just dropped there.
Yeah.
I called to him. He yelled. Light wasn't on the room. Couldn't see too good. Didn't know right off. Then I went in.
Yes, sir.
Dead. Mm-hmm. Called the cops. Told them it was killing. Said for him to come right then.
Did you go in the room at all?
Well, just to look at Mr. McNeil. As soon as I saw what happened, I turned around, run to the phone, called the cops.
What can you tell us about this, McNeil?
Oh, not much to say. Quiet. Didn't cause no trouble. Didn't drink. Paid his rent on time.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any relatives in town that you know of?
Didn't hear him say nothing.
Is there anything else you might tell us about it?
No, nothing right off.
All right, thank you.
You going up to see the room now?
That's right.
Sure don't make much sense.
What's that?
Why anybody do it? Plain little guy. Nothing about him make him stand out, take any notice.
Mm-hmm.
Mind his own business. Got along with all the guests. Wasn't anybody paid any attention to him.
You got it wrong.
What?
Somebody did. 6:12 a.m. The crew from the crime lab arrived and began their investigation of the murder room. The canvass of the area was started in an attempt to find somebody who might have seen the killer. Frank and I went up to room 319. The appearance of the room indicated there'd been a struggle before McNeil was killed. Clothing was scattered around the floor. Tables were overturned. The bedding had been ripped from the bed and then torn apart. Pictures had been removed from the wall. Books were scattered all around the place. The drawers from the small desk and the bureau had been ransacked. Papers had been thrown around. While Lieutenant Lee Jones continued his investigation, Frank and I talked with the night clerk, Ted Brendel.
Do you know if McNeil carried large sums of money?
Huh?
Did McNeil carry much money with him, would you know?
Don't know as I can answer that. He never did flash any of it around. Guess he had enough to live on, though. Told you before, he always paid his rent on time.
Yeah.
Do you have any close friends you know of?
Only met one.
Who was that?
Girl.
You know her name?
Well, ain't exactly a girl either. Guess she's around 50. A couple of times, McNeil took her out to a movie or something. They came in. He went upstairs, changed his clothes, and her and me, we talked.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he saw something kind of interesting in her. Myself, I couldn't, though. Kind of dumpy, you know. Seemed to like her, though. A couple other times he talked about her, said how she was so nice, seemed to understand him.
How about her name?
Let me think for a minute. Clara. Yeah, it seems like that was it. Clara.
You know where we can get in touch with her?
Well, the way I remember, she lived in a hotel down the street near 6th.
Do you know the name of the place?
Eldridge, I think it was. Not real sure. If you ask down there, they ought to be able to tell you, though. Name's Clara or something.
What if we could use your phone?
Sure, in the lobby downstairs.
I'll call. All right.
Hey, you gotta have dime. It's a payphone.
Yes, sir.
Gee, they sure made a mess.
Did McNeil get much mail while he was here?
No, a couple of letters.
You know who they were from?
Some law company here in town. Must have been good. You know how they have the name printed up in the corner of the envelope?
Yeah.
Embossed. Must cost them something.
You remember the name?
No, can't get a picture.
Did McNeil drive a car?
Used to take a streetcar to work. Know that because he used to talk about the people he met. He got real sore when it rained. Told me he couldn't stand the smell of wet wool. Said there ought to be a law that nobody could wear wool clothes when it rained.
Well.
He's a funny little guy. Got real definite ideas about things.
That's so?
Oh, yeah. Made up his mind and stuck to it. Like the envelope.
Well, what's that?
The envelope he had a couple of days ago. Wanted to put it in the hotel safe. Told him we didn't have one, just got the steel boxes. You know, one for each room in case the guests want to check something.
Yeah.
And we got those. And when he found out, he decided to keep the envelope himself.
He tell you what was in it?
No, just acted kind of mysterious, like it had something real valuable inside. When he found out there wasn't safe, he told me he'd keep it with him.
But he didn't give you any idea what was in the envelope?
No, just plain white, little, you know, like you mail a letter in.
Yeah.
How about you find a woman?
Yes, sir. I'll see you in a minute, Joe.
Yeah. Want to excuse it?
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to check the hotel. The woman's name is Clara Fabian.
Yeah.
She checked out 30 minutes ago.
See where she's going?
No, clerk said she was pretty upset.
Yeah.
Said something about a death in the family.
Frank and I went over to the Eldridge Hotel. We talked to the manager, and he told us that the Fabian woman had left hurriedly. We checked her room, but we found nothing to indicate where she might have gone. We called the office and had the name run through R&I. We found she had a record listing several drunk arrests and 2 convictions on bunco charges. Her picture was pulled and shown to Ted Brendel. He identified her as McNeil's friend. From her package, we obtained the name of a sister living in the Los Angeles area. 7:21 a.m., Frank and I drove out to talk to her. At first, she refused to tell us anything, but after questioning, she admitted that she'd heard from Clara Fabian that morning. She'd called to say that she was checking into a hotel on South Spring Street. When we got to the place, the desk clerk told us we'd find her in the coffee shop.
I guess that's her.
Yeah, it matches the description.
Yeah.
Clara Fabian?
Yeah. What do you want?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Oh, nothing to do with no cops.
It's my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I told you I don't want to talk to you. Go away.
Afraid we can't do that.
Why? Some kind of law? Don't know what you're after, but I ain't going to help you. My filler guys like you all the time giving me nothing but trouble. I'm clean. Don't owe nobody nothing. Now leave me alone.
You know a man named Arthur McNeil?
I'm going to get out of here.
All right, Miss Fabian. If you don't want to talk here, we'll go downtown.
What about McNeil?
You know him?
Yeah,
When'd you see him last?
about midnight.
Where?
We had dinner. Couple of drinks. I drove him home.
How well do you know him?
He wants to get married
Do you know where he worked?
at his own place. Some kind of chemicals.
Can you give us the address?
What are all the questions about? Something wrong?
Police matter.
Why don't you tell me what this is about? Questions you're asking. For all I know, I might be saying the wrong
Well,
thing.
if you tell us the truth, you won't be saying the wrong thing.
Well, I got your word on that. What's the matter? Something happened to Arthur?
Yeah.
What?
He had an accident.
Where? Down at the chemistry place?
No, at his hotel.
What'd he do? Fall down the stairs?
No.
Wouldn't be surprised the way he lushed up last night. Boy, I never saw him so loaded.
That's all?
Yeah. A couple of drinks and he's on his way to outer space. Only takes 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
He had more than that when I met him. Some kind of a celebration.
What for?
Hmm?
What was he celebrating?
Some kind of an invention he was working on. Told me it had taken him over 5 years, but he did it. Said we'd be on the easy street. Big pictures about the money pouring in. All we could use.
Yeah.
That's what caused the fight.
Mm-hmm.
You see, all the time we've been going together, he's been giving me that line about lots of money. How he was going to make this invention and be a millionaire all the time, talking like that.
Yeah.
One look at him and you know it was all in his head, nothing to it. I told him to stop it. Told him 100 times. Didn't do any good. Finally blew up. I couldn't take no more.
This was last night, huh?
Yeah. We had dinner and he showed me an envelope. Said it was the invention in it. Big deal. He was going to be rich. Went on and on about it. I tell you, I think he was a little cracked. Wanted to drive to Vegas right then, get married. 10:30, and he wanted to leave then.
Yeah, right.
I told him he was off the beat. I got it right to his face. Made him mad. Real sore. I think a lot of it was the booze. You know, courage. He can't handle drinking at all.
Yeah.
Told me that if I didn't go with him right then, we'd call the whole thing off. Stop seeing each other. I told him it was all right with me. Never meant to get married anyway. Just something to do to pass the time. I wouldn't have really got married.
What happened then?
I took him home. Dropped him at the hotel.
Where'd you go then?
Back to my place, got ready for bed. Guess it was about 11 when he called, real mad. Carried on, yelled and screamed and said I'd be sorry. And I couldn't take it anymore and hung up right while he was talking. A couple of minutes later, he called back. I wouldn't answer the phone, and then when it stopped ringing, I told the boy at the desk not to ring my room anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me at first, and then I got to thinking about it. A little crackpot. I tried to do something, so I decided to get out.
That's why you left the hotel.
Yeah, the way he was lushed up, things he said, no way of knowing if he was going to cause me trouble. All I knew was that I didn't want no part of it.
Yeah.
This accident. Something serious?
Yeah, that's right.
In the hospital?
No.
How bad's he hurt?
As bad as you can get.
This isn't a joke, is it?
No, it's no joke.
If it is, I don't think it's very funny.
It's no joke, lady.
Is he dead?
That's right.
He do it himself?
Looks like he had some help.
Poor little guy. It's kind of funny to think about it now. I used to figure he was cute the way he was always bringing me presents. Oh, not big, you know, but like a bunch of flowers or a book, little thing. Funny to think about it. I can hardly imagine him being dead, poor little guy. You know who did it?
Not yet, no.
We hope you might be able to help us.
Why me?
Nobody seems to know much about him. Can't find any close friends. Nobody would want to see him dead.
He never talked about anybody to me.
Did he ever mention a lawyer to you?
No.
Can you give us any idea where he worked?
What, you mean the chemistry place?
If that's the place, yeah.
No. Never said exactly. I think it was some kind of store, though, with the windows painted. He talked about the invention, said he had all the stuff to make it with, but he never told me where it was.
All right. Anything else you can tell us about him?
No, nothing.
All right, thanks, Miss Fabian.
For what?
For what you have been able to tell us.
Don't seem like it's going to be any help. Are you sure this ain't some kind of a joke?
No, ma'am.
And he's really dead?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, poor little guy.
Well, if you think of anything, we'd appreciate a call. We'll leave you one of our cards.
Oh, thanks. I remember something, I'll sure let you know.
All right.
Can you tell me how it happened?
He was shot.
Oh, maybe it was an accident, you know. Whoever did it didn't mean to.
No, it's not likely.
Maybe. You've heard where a gun goes off, somebody killed. All the time you read about in the papers. Gun goes off accidentally.
No, not 6 times. Frank and I went back to the office. We called the crime lab and talked with Lieutenant Lee Jones. He told us that they'd been unable to find anything we could use at the scene of the killing. He said that the victim had been shot with a .38 caliber revolver. In going over the room, his crew had found several items of value. In light of this, there was a possibility that the motive for the killing was not robbery, as we'd thought before. Lieutenant Jones said that the coroner had called, and he'd said that he found over $100 in cash on the body of the victim, also a wristwatch and an expensive ring. In one of the pockets of the coat McNeil was wearing, the crew from the crime lab had found an address book. Jones said he was sending it over to us. The canvass of the area had netted us nothing. None of the people in the immediate vicinity had seen anything out of the ordinary at the time of the killing. We contacted the stats office and asked them to make a run on the method of operation. Until we could come up with a motive for the slaying, there was little we could do to apprehend the killer. Additional men had been sent out from the office to interrogate the other people in the hotel. They reported that they'd found nothing to aid us. 10:47 a.m.
Well, we're sure building zeros.
We sure are. There's not much to go on.
Nothing.
I got it. Homicide, Friday. Yes, sir. That's right. Well, how'd you hear about it? Yeah. Yes, sir, we would. What's that? All right. As soon as we can get there. Yes, sir. Goodbye. Might have a break, maybe. Man says he's McNeil's lawyer.
What's he got?
First step.
Huh?
The reason McNeil was killed. and I left the city hall and drove over to the address I'd been given on the phone. After a few minutes' wait, we were shown into George Casper's office. We identified ourselves, and he asked us to sit down.
Terrible thing to have happen.
Yes, sir?
I heard about it on the car radio this morning while I was coming to work.
You're Mr. McNeil's attorney, are you?
Yes, have been for over 10 years.
On the phone, you said that you knew why he was killed.
That's right. I feel a little silly about it now that you're here. It all seems pretty melodramatic.
Like to tell us about it?
It's McNeil's formula.
What, sir?
For the past 8 years, McNeil's been working on a new type of explosive for commercial use.
I see.
It's supposed to have a lot of advantages. Easy to carry, minimizes the danger of accidental firing. The way he painted it, it'd answer a lot of problems in building.
Mm-hmm.
He called me the day before yesterday. He said it was finished. He'd completed the final laboratory experiments.
Yeah.
Went on about how it was going to make a fortune for him.
Mm-hmm. Had he talked to anyone about it?
I'm not sure, but knowing McNeil, I imagine he did.
Why do you say that?
Well, these experiments got to be an obsession with him, about the only thing that mattered. A couple of times when we were out someplace, he'd have a few drinks and start talking about the explosive, loud enough for anyone near him to hear it.
Do you know where he worked?
Yes, small place out in the valley. I can give you the address if you want it.
Yes, sir, we'd appreciate that.
Have you any idea who might have killed him?
No, sir, we're working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anybody he was close to?
You mean socially?
That or in business?
No, can't think of anyone. There was a girl. He spoke several times of marrying her. Sorry, but I can't tell you any more than that. I don't know her name.
All right, fine, Mr. Casper.
Does he have any relatives here in town?
No, he made a will several months ago. Left everything to one of the industrial schools. Not much. Lab equipment, a few books.
Anything else you can tell us about?
No, I'm afraid not. Most of the time he's pretty quiet. Kept to himself. Once in a while he'd go on a bender, might last a couple of days. When he was on one of those drinking bouts, he'd get in some kind of trouble. Loud talk, something like that. Nothing serious.
All right, sir. If you'll give us that address, we won't take up any more of your time.
Yes, of course. You can understand why I felt a little silly about calling you.
What's that, sir?
Explosives, spies. Sounds like something in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine there's anything to it, though. As far as I know, McNeil might not even have finished the formula. Might have been just another of his stories.
Yeah, that's right.
He was always telling whoppers. I guess a psychiatrist would say he was trying to find some way of justifying himself.
Is that right?
Seemed to be a big thing with him. To find a way of making himself heard about.
It kind of looks like he found it. Frank and I went back to the office and met with Captain Lorman. We discussed the possibility of McNeil being killed by somebody who wanted the chemical formula. Because of the potential value of the explosive, federal authorities were notified, and they sent a team of men out to aid in the investigation. The next morning, Wednesday, January 12th, we picked up a list of similar crimes from the stats office. In checking out the victims, we got the same description of the thief from each one of them. They all described him as a white male American, 32 years, 165 pounds. In each case, the thief had followed the victims and attacked them as they entered their homes. The last robbery had taken place 3 weeks before on December 23rd. During the commission of the crime, the victim had been wounded. The bullet had been removed and held at the crime lab as evidence. 8:02 a.m. Frank and I put in a call to Lieutenant Jones. 8:26 a.m. Might be late.
Yeah.
I get it. Homicide Friday. Kelly. You check him? How about it? Yeah, sure is. Yeah. Now all we got to do is to make it do some good. Right. Thank you, Lee. Bye.
What's he got?
So he checked the bullet from the last robbery against the ones that killed McNeil.
Yeah.
Same gun. Additional local broadcasts and APBs were gotten out carrying the description of the holdup man. Victims were asked to come to the city hall and recheck the mug books in the hope that they might be able to identify him. A check of McNeil's workshop failed to disclose any evidence that he'd been working on an explosive. A week went by without any new developments. Thursday, January 20th, Frank and I got back to the squad room.
Well, sure looked for a while like it was going to go.
Yeah, Jim. I got it. Homicide Friday. Yeah, Jim. Mm-hmm. When? Might be. Right. Right now. Right. Jim Austin, robbery. We just got back from a call out in Westwood.
Yeah?
Thief fits our description pretty good. Austin thinks it might be the same guy.
They get him?
No, something just as good.
What do you mean?
He dropped the hotel key. Frank and I went over to room 27A and we met with Sergeant Jim Austin. He gave us the details of the robbery. From the way the holdup man operated and the description given by the victim, he was the man we were looking for. In getting away from the scene, he dropped the key to a downtown hotel room. We checked the address in the phone book and then we left the city hall. It was a small place on South 4th Street. We identified ourselves as the manager and told him why we were there.
Yes, it's one of our keys.
Can you tell us who has the room?
Yes, Ralph Otley.
What's this Otley look like?
Oh, he's a nice young fella, blonde. Guess he's about 30 years old.
How long has he been here?
You mean regular?
That's right.
About 5 months. A couple of times before that for a couple of months. He came back, though.
Is he in now?
No, I haven't seen him since this morning. Left about 7:30.
Does he have a job?
Well, he never told me nothing about it.
What's he do for a living?
Well, I guess you'd say he was kind of a promoter.
What do you mean?
Well, he goes around trying to line things up, figures some way to make a killing. He hit it pretty good on a deal last year, and he's been living on the money since then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to talk to him about?
Police business.
Not in trouble, is he?
We better talk to him about that.
Well, look, if he's done anything wrong, the hotel didn't know a thing about it. He paid his rent. He didn't cause any trouble here. Now, we didn't have any part in it.
Well, don't worry about it. What if we could see his room?
You mean go through it?
We'd like to take a look at it, yeah.
Well, I guess it's all right. You being cops, sure, I'll give you the key.
Well, you better come with us.
Well, I ain't going to tell him nothing. He comes in while you're upstairs. I won't tell him anything.
No, sir, that's not the idea. We'd like you to be in the room when we check it.
Oh, well, sure. Okay, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You really figure that there's something wrong with this Otley, huh?
Well, we're not sure.
Yeah, come to think about it, there could be.
Why do you say that?
Just because the way he lives, he'd have to make a lot of money to live the way he does. A fellow makes that much, he usually tells everybody how he did it. You know, show how smart he is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Otley never says anything, just that he made it, not how. He wouldn't let anybody in on a good thing.
Well, maybe he's got a reason.
Hmm?
It's not such a good thing. In the company of the manager, Frank and I checked the suspect's room. In one of the bureau drawers, we found a box of shells for a .38 pistol. There were also several items that had been listed as stolen in previous robberies. We returned to the lobby of the hotel and we waited for Otley to come in. 4:30 p.m. 5:30. 5:45.
Joe.
Yeah.
Hi, Sid.
Hello, Mr. Otley.
I lost my key someplace. You got another one?
Yes, sure I have.
I left it in the room. I'll check, sure.
Now, let's go.
Yeah.
Any calls for me today?
No, sir, no calls.
Stand still, Otley. Police officers.
Hey, what are you doing?
Don't turn around.
I'll take it.
38 revolver.
Hey, what's this all about? I haven't done
Get
anything.
your hands back of it.
You know you got the wrong guy.
Keep telling us that.
Taking him for robbery, huh?
That's one of them.
What do you mean?
We're booking you for suspicion of murder.
Robbery, that's all you got me for. I'm not going to stand no killing beef.
You keep believing that.
I will. You're going to tag me with anything more than 211.
Well, let's go.
Grab him, Frank. Wait a minute. Hold it up, Otley, or I'll shoot. Why did you kill me, cop? Why?
You're lucky.
That's all you know. I'd have been better off, a lot better. You should have killed me.
All right, come on. We'll take you down to George Street Hospital.
I didn't mean to shoot the old man.
That's so.
Yeah, he wouldn't give me the money. He kept saying he didn't have any.
Yeah.
I heard him talking about how he was loaded. He could have just given it to me. No trouble if he'd just given me the money.
All right, settle down. You're not hurt bad.
Well, he started yelling. I had to shoot him. I had to. It wasn't any other way. You should have killed me. That's why he took off, so you'd kill me. I wish you had it.
Well, don't worry about it.
Huh?
Maybe it'll turn out that way.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Ralph Neville Otley was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. The jury returned a recommendation of mercy, and the suspect was sentenced to life imprisonment at the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. You get a call that a downtown hotel has been held up by a bandit who carries a sawed-off shotgun. Your job? Find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, October 9th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 2:06 a.m. when we got to the corner of Cinnabar Street and Grand Avenue. The Brinton Hotel.
Well, I just done what he told me. I figured there was no point in getting myself all roiled up. Didn't see where that would be helping matters.
Yes, sir.
Whatever he said, I done it. Hey, you fellas looking for a room?
Police officers, this is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Are you from robbery?
That's right.
Roberts, 1F16.
Mm-hmm. You answered the call?
Yeah. The description's out. Metro's sending a couple of cars to help us look for the suspect.
All right, good.
Anything else I can do for you?
No, not right now.
Okay. I'll take care of the report.
Thank you. We'll check with you.
Right. You know, I sure would have been wrong about you two.
What's that?
I never would have guessed you was cops.
Oh?
Salesmen. That's what I'd put you boys down for.
I see.
Ladies ready to wear. Guess I would have missed the boat this time.
Yes, sir. Would you tell us about the holdup, please?
How about them other officers already let you in on it?
We'd like to get the details from you if we could.
Oh. Well, I ain't got nothing better to do. Stuck here till 7 a.m. anyhow.
Wonder if we could have your name.
Boxer, Tom Boxer.
That's Boxer?
That's it, just like a dog.
Uh-huh. What time did the robbery take place?
45 minutes ago, along around 1:20, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't 1:30 yet, I'm sure of that.
Oh?
See, I was listening to the radio. Stan Swift.
Who's that?
You know, Stan Swift. He's on every night, midnight till 6, 7 nights a week.
Oh, yeah.
The nights go swifter with Swift. That's how he puts it.
Uh-huh.
Gives a time signal every hour and every half hour. Remember him giving the 1 a.m. Hadn't given the 1:30 yet, so it must have been around 1:20 when this fella come into the hotel.
What'd he do?
Walked up to the desk.
Yes, sir.
I didn't even know he was there. Not at first.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting down in that chair, kind of had my back away from the door. Didn't hear him neither on account of being plugged in.
What was that?
To my radio.
Oh, I see.
This here gadget, see?
Mm-hmm.
It's into your ear, like so.
Yeah, I understand.
Lets you listen without waking nobody up. Other end attaches to the set, like so.
Mm-hmm.
You mean that's a radio?
Sure is. You ain't never seen this kind before, huh?
No, sir.
Transistor.
Oh.
That's what they call it. Regency transistor. Ain't got no tubes. That's what makes it so small, you see? Carry it around in your pocket if you have a mind to.
I see.
Real good tone, though. Plenty of volume if you want to let it out.
Yes, sir. Now, if you just tell us about the robbery, would you, Mr. Boxer, please?
Well, ain't that what I've been doing?
Yes, sir. You said this man walked up to the desk?
That is right. Maybe stood there a couple of seconds before I sensed him.
Mm-hmm.
Unplugged myself, got up and asked him if he wanted a room. He said he did, single.
Yes, sir.
Checked the boxes to see what was vacant. Had my back to him while I was checking. Didn't notice him opening up his satchel.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been carrying the gun there, in the satchel. Anyway, when I turned around to register him, I found myself staring into the barrel. Shotgun it was.
All right, go ahead, please.
This is a stick-up, he said. Do what I tell you, and you won't get hurt. I didn't know whether he meant business or not, and I sure didn't aim to test him to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, I said. You just tell me what you want, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
I ain't no coward, you understand, but I ain't no hero neither, especially when I'm facing up to a shotgun.
Sure.
Like the man says, only real heroes are dead heroes.
Yes, sir.
Me, I'd just as soon go on living. That's why I done exactly what he told me. Give him the money from the cash drawer here. See? Every penny. Hand it all over to him. Didn't try to hold none back.
Yes, sir. How much was there?
$60, somewhere in between there.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, he told me to empty my pockets, lay the stuff on the desk.
You did, huh?
I emptied them. I didn't have more than $3 or $4 in change. He scooped it up with the other money, shoved it into his satchel.
I see.
Then he said for me to come out from behind this desk. Walked me over to the elevator. Told me to get inside and ride up to the top floor. That'd be the third. You see, the hotel's 3 stories high.
Yes, sir, I understand.
I suppose I could have got off on number 2. He would have known the difference. Floor indicator down there don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see where I'd be gaining anything by it, so I done what he told me. I rode up to 3.
How long did you wait there?
Oh, till I seen him leave the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
From the window end of the 3rd floor hall.
Did he drive away?
No, just rolled off. I don't think he had a car.
I see.
Turned the corner, and that was the last of him.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do then?
Took the elevator back down, called the police, listened to the radio while I was waiting.
Yes, sir.
Figured I might as well take it easy till the cops come. Wasn't more than 5 minutes before them officers walked in. A little while later, you fellas walked in. I guess you know when that was.
Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Boxer, could you tell us what he looked like?
Huh?
The man who held you up.
Oh, well, I told them other fellas, the ones wearing uniforms, they said they'd send out his description.
Yes, sir, we understand. We'd like to have it, too.
Okay. Oh, young fella, 25 to 30, I judge.
Yeah.
Big build, a little bigger than you. Not as big as you, though. Somewhere in between.
Yes, sir.
Black hair. Didn't catch the color of his eyes. Well, that's about all.
How was he dressed?
Oh, suit. Stripe in it, I think. Maybe dark blue with a gray stripe. Bow tie. Kind of dapper.
Mm-hmm.
Have any scars?
Not where you'd notice them.
He said he carried the gun in a satchel, is that right?
Must have been where he had it. Didn't actually see him take it out, though. Back was to him at the time.
How big was the satchel?
Oh, medium-sized, about so long.
Any initials on it?
No, not so far as I can recall.
What about the gun? How big was it?
This long, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Single barrel, sawed off.
Could you tell the make?
Well, I ain't no expert on shotguns.
No.
Would you know this man if you saw him again?
Sure, I'd be a fool not to. Why?
I'd like to have you come down to City Hall in the morning, Mr. Boxer, if you would.
But what for?
I want to show you some photographs, see if you can pick them out.
You mean this morning?
Yes, sir, if you would.
It's Sunday.
Yes, sir, that's right.
You fellas work on Sunday?
Well, we're not the only one.
Well, what do you mean?
He did. Frank and I checked with the patrol officers who had answered Mr. Boxer's call. They told us that a search of the immediate vicinity had failed to turn up anyone who answered the suspect's description. 3:16 a.m., the crew from the crime lab finished up their investigation. There were no useful fingerprints or other physical evidence in the lobby of the hotel. 7:38 a.m., we checked the suspect's M.O. and the description with the stats office. They came up with 18 possibles. We pulled the packages from R&I and took them back to the office.
Well, looks like it might rain.
Pretty early in the season, isn't it?
Yeah, the paper says we're going to have a wet winter.
All right.
Real good for skiing, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Lots of moisture. Heavy snow.
You never go skiing.
No.
Well?
No, I thought about taking it up a couple of years ago. Faye blew her stack, though. Said I'd probably break my neck first time I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think she worries more about me than she does about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, gents.
Oh, hi, sir.
Hope I haven't kept you waiting.
No, sir, not a bit. How are you today, Mr. Boxer?
Sleepy. Usually get a couple of hours cat nap during my shift. Kind of missed out on it last night.
Yes, sir, I'm afraid you did.
Even after all you fellows left, somehow I just couldn't doze off. Listen to Stan Swift till 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you I know more about Egypt than a real live Egyptian. Well, you got them pictures you wanted to show me?
Yes, sir, right over here.
It's all right if I sit down?
Yeah, go right ahead. Here you are.
This the pile?
Yes, sir, take your time. Look at each one as long as you like.
Okay. Pretty tough bunch of boys.
Yeah.
No, it's not him. Mm-hmm. No. Nope. Oh, hey, wait a minute. There is a resemblance. He looks something like this one here.
Is it the same man, Mr. Boxer?
Oh, no, not the same.
Yeah.
Similar type, though. Does that help you any?
Might. You want to go through the others?
Sure. Now, you see this fella?
Yes, sir.
He's not the same type at all.
No.
The other one I pointed out was, you can see the difference yourself.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Not him. Not him either. Nope. This is closer to him.
Sir?
Not as close as that one, the other one, but closer.
Yes, sir.
Now we're getting further away. No, it's none of these. Is that all you got?
Afraid so.
Well, that's the best I can do for you. Now, this one here, the one I pointed out first.
Yeah, we understand, but it's not the same man, you said.
Well, I never said it was. Just said they were similar.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm sorry we wasted your time.
Oh, it wasn't no waste of time, not as far as I'm concerned.
Huh?
Remember I telling you about how I try to guess what different folks do for a living?
Yeah.
Looking at all these pictures will be a big help from now on.
How's that?
I'll know a crook when I see one.
On the following Sunday, October 16th, 2 more hotels were held up by a shotgun bandit. Both robberies occurred during the early morning hours. Both hotels were small. The description of the suspect and his M.O. indicated that he was the same man who had robbed the Brinton Hotel. Frank and I continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any leads. During the next week, all hotels in the downtown area were alerted. Sunday, October 23rd, the night manager of the Schaefer Arms near the corner of Broadway and Clay reported that he had been robbed at approximately 3:30 a.m. He confirmed the bandit's description and M.O., but was unable to add anything new. The next morning, October 24th, we had a conference with Chief Brown.
Doesn't sound to me like you're any closer to him than we were 2 weeks ago. What do you got?
Well, not much.
Let's have it.
Description?
Pretty general, isn't it?
Afraid so.
What else?
Well, now he's only worked one area.
Yeah?
All the hotels are within a mile of Pershing Square.
Nothing to keep him from spreading out, is there?
So far, he hasn't used a car.
You figure he pulled these jobs on foot?
Looks that way.
Then he must live downtown somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anything about the hotels that might give us a tip-off on his next move?
Yeah, they're all small, only one person on duty.
Uh-huh.
We've marked all the possibles here on a map. You want to take a look at it?
Yeah.
Okay, right here. These are the ones he's already hit. Here, over here.
Tight little group?
Yeah. These circles indicate all the other hotels of a similar nature in the downtown area.
Uh-huh. Well, he works on Sundays, huh?
That's right.
What do you got planned for this Sunday?
Well, we'll stake out as many as we can. We've asked Metro to give us a hand. We figure we'll have enough men to cover about, 20 likelies, maybe.
We plan to run the stakes from midnight till 6 a.m. When he hits, it's usually between 2 and 4.
How's it sound to you?
About all we can do.
Yeah.
I want you both stay on this between now and Sunday, see if you can't pick up a lead somewhere.
We will.
Informant's been able to give you anything?
Nope.
They holding out?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think they know who he is.
Well, maybe the stakes will work.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. Let me see that map again.
Right here.
Funny. See here?
Yeah.
You said these are the places he's already robbed?
That's right.
All right together. Draw a line from one to the other and you'd have a square.
Yeah.
What's this right in the middle of the square?
It's the Argus Hotel on South Broadway.
That's one he hasn't hit yet.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like your best bet, then.
Yeah, that's the way we figured it.
Who's going to cover it Sunday?
Well, Smith and I thought we'd take it.
That's a coincidence. Just who I was going to suggest.
During the rest of the week, we continued our investigation, but we failed to turn up any additional information about the suspect. A few minutes before midnight on Saturday, October 29th, men from Metro and Robbery Division staked out 22 locations in the downtown area. Sunday, October 30th, 12:05 a.m. Frank and I entered the lobby of the Argus Hotel, and we walked up to the desk.
Sorry, we're full up.
I'd like to talk to the manager if we can.
I said we're full up.
We're police officers.
Huh?
This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh.
Could we see the manager?
I'm the manager.
You own this hotel?
Me and my husband.
Well, maybe we better talk to him.
Go ahead. If you can find him.
Isn't he here?
Nope.
Would you know where he is?
Nope. Not getting drunk, probably.
I see.
I work nights, he works days. He don't tell me where he goes at night. I don't tell him what I do during the day. That's our arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
It don't make for a real happy marriage, but it keeps us from killing each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there somebody who could take over for you here tonight?
Nope.
Now, you're sure your husband didn't say where he was going?
We don't talk.
Oh.
He wants me to know something, he writes me a note, leaves it on the desk, and I do the same for him.
I see.
We ain't exchanged no words for the last 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Saves a lot of wear and tear on the nervous system. He never said nothing worth listening to anyway.
I see.
Well, what do you fellas want?
Well, ma'am, several hotels have been held up downtown lately.
No.
You were warned about it, weren't you?
George was warned, left me a note.
I see. Well, there's a chance he might come here tonight.
If he does, I'm ready for him. Got me a gun. Pistol. Keep in the cash drawer, see?
Yes, ma'am.
I know how to use it, too. He shows up, I'm ready for him.
Is there someplace we could wait in case he does?
You don't have to. I don't need no protection. Told you. I've got a gun.
Yes, ma'am. So's he. Mrs. Argus finally agreed to let us stake out the hotel. She showed us into a small room off the lobby. From there, Frank and I could see anybody who entered. During the next 4 hours, only 2 people requested accommodations. They were both middle-aged men, and neither one of them in any way resembled the suspect's description.
What time you got, Joe?
5 after 4.
Huh? Latest they ever pulled a job was 3:30.
Yeah.
Maybe he decided to lay off tonight.
Maybe.
Argus Hotel. Who? Oh, yeah. Hey, you guys in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody wants you on the phone.
Okay, I'll be right over.
And the booze.
Yes, ma'am. Friday. No, wait a minute. Okay. What's that address? Yeah, I got it, thanks. Right. What's up? Looks like we staked out the wrong places.
Yeah?
All-night cafe on South Main. The owner was held up. He's pretty badly wounded.
Yeah.
Sawed-off shotgun. Frank and I drove over to the Joplin Grill at the corner of Main and Vincent Place. We talked to the patrol car officers who had discovered Fred Joplin's body. They told us Joplin was unconscious when they found him. They said that they'd call an ambulance and that he'd been taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. We telephoned the hospital and asked them to be notified as soon as the victim was available for questioning. 4:42 a.m., Lieutenant Lee Jones and the crew from the crime lab began their investigation. Frank and I went back to the office. October 30th, 10:17 a.m., Georgia Street reported that Joplin had recovered consciousness. We drove down there and talked to Dr. Sebastian. He said that Joplin was suffering from shock and loss of blood. He also said that Joplin's right shoulder was severely lacerated and that there was a possibility the arm would have to be amputated. 10:46 a.m., we interviewed the victim.
Sat down on the stool and asked for a cup of coffee.
Yes, sir.
I turned around, picked up the Silex, started filling the cup. Time I was finished, he got his gun out. Guess he had it in that bag he's carrying.
Yes, sir.
Told me it was a stick-up. Said to give him the money from the register or he'd shoot me. I didn't say nothing, just stood there kind of staring at him.
Yeah.
He raised up his gun. Shotgun it was.
Yes, sir.
I mean business, mister. That's what he said next. I mean business.
I see.
I still didn't say nothing, just stood there with a cup of coffee in my hand. Start moving, he said. Voice sounded real low and mean. Didn't seem to match his face. Sort of a pleasant-looking fella. Voice was mean, though.
Yeah.
Started gesturing with that shotgun, pointing toward the register. That's when I let fly. With a cup of coffee. Smashed it right into his face.
I see.
Must have given him quite a jolt.
Yes, sir.
Didn't keep him from shooting me, but it sure wrecked his aim some. Leastways, I'm still here. Don't remember nothing after that.
I see.
Sure hit him a good one, though. Them coffee cups ain't the lightest things in the world.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Not to mention the coffee itself. Scalding hot it was. Right here. That's where I belted him. Right in the jaw. Used to be a ball player, you know.
Is that right?
Wasn't a pro exactly, but I had a first-rate pitching arm. Lefty Joplin, that's what they used to call me. Back in Junction City, Kansas it was. Local merchant sponsored our team. Pitched 16 winners one season. Best record in the league.
Yes, very good.
Well, I ain't lost all my technique. Leastways, I sure whacked him with that cup.
Yes, sir.
Doc say anything to you fellas about how I'm doing?
Well, just that you're getting along.
He make up his mind about my right arm yet?
What?
Whether I'm going to lose it or not?
No, sir, he didn't tell us.
Guess in a way I'm kind of lucky.
What?
Being left-handed.
We asked the victim, Fred Joplin, to describe the suspect. The description he gave us tallied with what we already had. 11:17 a.m. Frank and I went back to the office.
I can't figure it out, Joe.
What?
Why he'd switch from hotels to a cafe.
Well, maybe he tumbled to our stakeouts.
Yeah, I thought sure he'd try the Argus, though. It's the right spot for him.
I get it. Robbery Friday. I see. Yeah. Anything else? Well, give us something to go on anyway. Thank you. Right. Lee Jones in the lab.
What's he got?
Well, Joplin was right. He sure didn't miss with that coffee cup.
They find the pieces?
More than that.
Huh?
Found a broken front tooth. Analysis of the broken tooth revealed that it was part of a lower incisor. From what we learned of the suspect, it seemed likely that he would make an immediate effort to have the tooth replaced. For the next 3 days, Frank and I interviewed dentists in the immediate vicinity of the robberies. Thursday, November 3rd, 3:17 p.m. We questioned Dr. Clinton Potterfield in his office on the second floor of the Marsh building.
Yes, I believe I had such a patient last Monday.
Broken incisor?
Yes, that's right.
Could you tell us what he looked like?
Oh, young man, about 30, nicely dressed, seemed very pleasant.
Did he say what had happened to his tooth?
Yes, he did. Automobile accident.
I see.
He knocked it against the steering wheel. He wanted a new fitting right away.
Yes, sir.
Agreed to make him a temporary as soon as I could. It should be finished tomorrow. He offered to pay me extra if I'd hurry it up. I told him you can't rush a new bridge, even a temporary.
Yes, sir. Did he give you his name and address?
Well, not me personally. My receptionist takes care of those details.
Yes, I understand. Would you mind checking with her?
No, not a bit. Excuse me.
It's about time we got a break.
Oh.
Hey, look out there. Starting to rain.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, just like the paper said. It's going to be a wet winter.
Here you are, gentlemen. I had a copy down for you.
Thank you. Philip Seaver.
Yes, that's correct. His address is right there, too.
Well, at least we know one thing now.
What's that?
Why he skipped over the Argus Hotel.
Yeah?
He lives there. 3:58 p.m. Frank and I drove over to the Argus Hotel, and we talked to the owner, George Argus. He told us that Philip Seaver lived on the second floor, room 23. He said that Seaver was a quiet young man who had been staying at the hotel for the past 6 weeks. He also told us that Seaver worked nights and was probably in his room now. We took the elevator up to the second floor.
There it is.
All right. Yeah.
Hey, stop that right
against the wall there.
What? Whoa. I sure don't know what this is all about.
Oh, he's clean, Joe.
All right, turn around.
Okay.
Where's the shotgun?
You guys must be off your rockers.
I'll see what I can turn up.
All right.
You got no right to come busting in here.
Yeah.
Now, what would I be doing with the shotgun?
Why don't you tell us?
I never had a gun in my life. Boy, you cops sure make the darndest mistakes. I bet you picked the wrong guy up half the time.
Yeah, sure.
Look, there's nothing in that bureau except my clothes there, fella.
Yeah, what about this?
Well, it's just a satchel, that's all.
It's locked.
Where's the key?
I don't know. I lost it.
Break it open.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good bag.
Not worth anything to you without a key, is it? All right, Seaver, let's go.
How the heck did that get in there?
You don't know.
I told you I didn't.
Yeah.
I never had a shotgun in my life.
Well, you've got one now.
Oh, I must have picked up the wrong bag by mistake. Sure, that's what happened.
All right, come on, Seaver.
Okay, I'm coming.
Cut your hand?
Oh, be all right.
Look at that.
Huh?
You must have bad ones.
What's that?
Another tooth missing.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 12th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Philip Herbert Seaver was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, 5 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state penitentiary. Because of the viciousness of the suspect, it was decided that the terms would run consecutively. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. You get a call that someone has broken into a necktie manufacturer's. A large supply of hand-painted ties have been stolen. Your job? Check it out.
It was Saturday, September 10th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:31 a.m. when I got to room 45. Burglary.
Hi, Joe.
Morning. Anything for us?
A patrol car picked up a couple of high school kids about 3 a.m.
No?
Found them hanging around a filling station over on Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Juveniles checking them against those other filling station jobs last week. Just to let us know.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be a scorcher.
Yeah.
You noticed it last night? The heat.
Oh, yeah, sure I did.
I don't think I slept more than 30 minutes. Wonder about air conditioning the house.
What?
It's pretty expensive, isn't it?
Well, I guess it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah. Be worth it, though, weather like this.
Well, we don't get these spells too often.
Well, I don't know, Joe. Lots of the new houses have air conditioning.
Yeah.
Just the bedroom might not cost too much. You know, one of those portable units.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Burglary Friday. Yes, sir. Just a second. All right, what's the address? All right. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, I see. Right away. Bye. Tie manufacturing company out on Western. Somebody cleaned them out last night. Over 100 dozen neckties.
Yeah.
Owner says he knows who did it. Frank and I drove out to a small manufacturing shop on Southwestern Avenue. 9:03 a.m. We interviewed the owner, George Prosper. He told us the back door had been forced open during the night and that a large supply of hand-painted neckties had been stolen.
You see right here, the lock's broken.
Yes, sir.
That's how he got in, no mistake about it.
Uh-huh.
You take anything else beside the ties?
Oh, a little cash, $80, $90. But the ties are the important thing.
Oh?
Yeah, they're worth at least $5 a piece retail, all hand-painted, you know.
Yes, sir.
Some of them are worth more, special designs.
Why is that?
Well, they're made up for the individual, one of a kind.
Oh, I see.
Of course, most of the ties he stole weren't specials. They were from a wholesale stock, Christmas orders.
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit it doesn't feel very much like Christmas today, but we have to get our orders filled before the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly hope you'll be able to get the ties back for us in time.
Yes, sir. You said you had an idea who the thief might be.
Yeah, that's right. Morgan Gilroy.
Who's he?
Young fellow used to work for me. I let him go first last week.
Uh-huh.
Just wasn't dependable. Always late in the morning. Careless worker, too.
Yeah, well, why do you blame him for the burglary?
Well, he was very upset when I fired him. Said his wife was having a baby. Said I didn't have any right to let him go without notice.
I see.
Told him I'd warn him off enough. Gave him a whole week's pay, and that seemed more than fair to me.
Did he say anything else?
Well, yeah, he threatened me.
Oh.
Said I'd be sorry I fired him. Said I'd live to regret it.
Uh-huh.
Made quite a scene. Told him if he didn't get out, I'd call the police.
Did he leave then?
Well, not right away. He quieted down some, asked me to change my mind and keep him on. Said he couldn't be out of work now, that he had to have a job on account of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
I told him there are plenty of jobs to be had. If a man really wants work, he can find it.
Yeah.
Different when I was his age. Had to earn your wages.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd take young fellas like Gilroy careless, irresponsible, always looking for shortcuts, always looking for an easy dollar. Never give value in return.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sure it was him. Just the sort of stunt he'd pull. Easy way to earn a dollar.
Well, then he's got something to learn, hasn't
he?
This was the hard way. Frank and I called the crime lab. While they checked the premises, we continued to interview the victim, George Prosper. He gave us a description of the suspect, Morgan Gilroy, and Gilroy's home address. They also gave us a detailed description of the stolen property. 10:17 a.m. The lab reported that they were unable to find any useful fingerprints on the jimmy door. Pictures of the jimmy marks were taken. There was no other physical evidence. 10:57 a.m. Frank and I drove out to the address Prosper had given us. It was a small apartment house on Fountain Avenue in Hollywood. The Gilroy apartment was number 7.
Yes?
Morgan Gilroy in?
No, he isn't.
You Mrs. Gilroy?
Yes, sir.
We're police officers, ma'am. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Pleased to meet you.
You all right if we come in for a minute?
Oh, I guess it'll be all right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I'm not fixed up. I kind of overslept this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you out late last night, Mrs. Gilroy?
No.
How about your husband?
What about him?
Was he out late? Well,
don't you think you ought to tell me why you want to know?
police matter.
Then maybe you'd better talk to Morgan.
Yes, ma'am. Do you know where he is?
At work.
Now, where does he work, Mrs. Gilroy?
For a tire manufacturer.
Which one, do you know?
Prosper's. George Prosper. That's the owner's name.
Mm-hmm.
How long has your husband worked for him?
6 or 7 months.
And that's where he went this morning, did he?
That's where he goes every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened to Morgan?
We'd like to talk to him, that's all.
Then why don't you? I told you where you could find him.
Yes, ma'am.
The Prosper Tire Company. I don't know what the address is, but it's in the phone book.
Well, we just came from there, Miss Gilroy.
Well, I don't understand. Didn't you see Morgan?
Your husband doesn't work for him anymore.
What?
He was let out last week.
What? I don't believe you.
That's what his boss told us.
Well, Morgan would have said something about it.
No.
Oh, you've made a mistake. You must be talking about a different person.
No, ma'am.
Well, it's got to be a mistake. Well, sure, Morgan gave me his paycheck last night. Every Friday night he gives me his paycheck. He got paid yesterday. The same as every week.
Do you still have the check?
No, not exactly.
What do you mean?
Well, it wasn't the check he gave me, not really.
Oh.
You see, he'd cashed it on his way home from work.
I see.
But it was the usual amount, $80. Mr. Prosper must have paid him.
What time did your husband get home, Miss Gilroy?
Last night?
That's right.
Well, he was later than usual.
How late?
If Morgan's in some kind of trouble, I've got a right to know. I've got a right, haven't I?
Suppose you just answer our questions, would you?
He wouldn't have done anything wrong. Not at a time like this. You see, we're going to have a baby.
I see.
Morgan doesn't even think about anything else. He wants everything to be just perfect when the baby comes. That's why he couldn't have done anything wrong. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why, whatever it is, well, it just has to be a mistake.
Well, you can help us clear it up.
All right.
What time did he come home?
About 2:15.
A.M.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Did he say where he'd been?
He called from the shop about 5:30 yesterday afternoon. Said they had a rush shipment to get out, that he'd be working late. Told me not to wait up for him.
Had he ever worked this late before?
Once or twice. Not till 2:15, maybe, but till nearly midnight.
Were you awake when he got home?
Yes, sir.
Then you're sure of the time, 2:15.
Yes, sir, I'm sure. You see, I couldn't get to sleep. I was kind of worried about him. I guess I kept watching the clock. It was 2:15 when he came in.
What did he say?
He was kind of put out, provoked about my still being awake. Said I ought to get my rest on account of the baby. I guess I sort of flared back. I said it was his fault on account of him being out so late. Oh, it wasn't a real fight or anything like that.
Yes.
He said I oughtn't to blame him, that we'd need all the extra money he could make. And he took out his wallet and gave me this week's pay, like I told you.
Mm-hmm. Did he bring anything else home with him, Mrs. Gilroy?
With him?
Extra clothes, ties, anything like that?
No.
You mind if I look around the apartment?
Well, I know where everything is. If you'll tell me what you're looking for, maybe I can help you.
Oh, that's all right. I can make out. Just the bedroom?
Yes, the bed isn't made.
Don't worry about it.
I wasn't feeling very good this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like some coffee?
No, ma'am, thank you.
And what about your friend?
No, I don't think so.
Did Mr. Prosper really say he fired Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, did he say why?
Well, you better ask your husband about that.
Just isn't fair. In a time like this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't appreciate Morgan. None of the people he's worked for.
Yeah.
Man does his best. This is the thanks he gets.
Mrs. Gilroy, these ties belong to your husband?
Well, yes.
You know where he got them?
Sure, there's some he made at the shop. Samples.
I see.
Does he have any more of the same kind?
I don't think so. Don't tell me all this fuss is about a couple of ties.
Well, it's a few more than that, ma'am.
Oh?
100 dozen. Except for the 3 ties which Frank had found in the bedroom, we were unable to turn up anything else that seemed to answer the description of the stolen property. 12:15 p.m. Frank stayed at the Gilroy apartment to wait for the suspect while I drove back to the tie factory. George Prosper identified the ties taken from Gilroy's closet. He said that they were samples manufactured in his plant. He also said that they had been given to the suspect and had not been stolen. 1:36 p.m. I checked Gilroy's name through R&I. They had nothing on him. 2:17 p.m. I returned to the suspect's apartment.
Hi, John.
Hi. Any sign of him?
No, not so far.
Where's Miss Gilroy?
She's lying down.
Oh.
She's taking this pretty hard on all the pieces after you left.
That's a shame.
I guess you can't blame her much.
No.
And the heat and all. She's bound to be upset. Find out anything?
Well, these are Gilroy's ties.
Yeah.
Prosper gave them to him. Says they're somewhat similar to the ones that were stolen, but they're not the same.
Uh-huh.
Now, you want to go out for a sandwich?
Yeah, I guess so. You eat already?
No, I wasn't hungry.
Mm-hmm. Can I bring you back something?
Oh, milkshake maybe. That'll do it.
Okay. Doctor?
Yeah, fine.
I won't be long.
Frank?
Yeah?
Miss Gilroy's all right, isn't she?
Well, I guess so.
I mean, she doesn't need a doctor or anything like that.
Well, I don't know, Joe.
Well, you'd know more about it than I do.
Well, I suppose if she needs a doctor, she'd call one.
Yeah. Well, hurry it up anyway, will you?
Sure.
I thought I... Oh, you.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to the other officer?
Went out to get some lunch.
Oh,
You feeling better?
yes, thank you. The apartment's so stuffy today. That's what it was.
Yes, ma'am.
No, that isn't what it was at all.
Ma'am?
You and that other poison. You've got me so nervous I don't know whether I'm coming or going.
Well, I'm sorry we had to bother you.
You're just wasting your time. Morgan won't be home before 6 o'clock. He never gets off work, and I can't seem to get it through my head that he's not at the shop.
Yes, ma'am.
Look, the minute he comes in, I'll telephone you. Or if I hear from him, I promise, the minute he comes in.
Well, it might be better if we wait.
Won't you try to believe me? Morgan's honest, completely honest.
Yes, ma'am.
He hasn't done anything wrong. If he had, I'd know it. He'd have told me.
There's one thing he didn't tell you, Miss Gilroy.
Oh?
That money he brought home last night.
Well?
Where it came from. Frank and I waited in the apartment until the suspect, Morgan Gilroy, came home. 6:17 p.m. We took him into custody and drove him down to the city hall for questioning. He was very uncooperative and for nearly an hour refused to discuss his whereabouts the previous night. 7:08 p.m. We continued the interrogation.
How'd you happen to lose your job last week, Gilroy?
Ask the boss.
He says you weren't dependable.
That's his opinion.
You afraid to tell your wife he fired you?
Who says I didn't tell her?
Did you?
Well, maybe you'll feel more like talking in the morning.
Morning?
That's right.
You can't keep me down here tonight.
Is that right?
You want to drive Judy out of her mind? You saw how she acted when you guys took me in. Well, what are you trying to do to her?
We're not doing anything to her, Gilroy. All we want is some straight answers from you.
It wasn't enough losing my job just when I needed it the most. Now you guys got to crawl on my back, too.
When'd you get your last paycheck?
From Prosper?
Yeah.
Day he fired me?
That was last week sometime.
I guess so.
You gave your wife some money just last night.
So?
You told her it was this week's pay.
Well, I had to tell her something, didn't I?
Yeah.
I didn't want her worrying about me being out of work. I had to tell her something.
Where'd you get the money?
Borrowed it.
Yeah.
Maybe it looked like I was stealing, but I wasn't. I was going to tell him I was taking it. It was just a loan. Till I started drawing unemployment. I thought we was buddies, Steve and me. Some buddy turned you over to the cops for a lousy $80.
Who's Steve?
Steve McGill. Isn't that why you picked me up?
When were you with this McGill?
Last night.
What time?
5 o'clock on.
Till when?
It must have been nearly 2. It was a little after when I got home.
Where were you?
I met Steve at a bar over in Vermont.
What's the name of it?
Black Pony.
What'd you do then?
I had a couple of drinks, bite to eat.
All right, go ahead.
Some other guys came in, friends of Steve's. I met him once or twice, too.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said, let's get up a poker game. I told him I couldn't afford it. I didn't have any cash to spare. And Steve said for me not to worry, that if I ran short, he'd stick me.
Yeah.
We all went over to his place. I did real good for the first couple of hours. I only had $5 to start with and ran it up to over 100.
Is that right?
They were all ribbing me. About how I was the one that didn't want to play.
Yeah.
Along about midnight, my luck started turning. By 1:30, I was cleaned out. Always seemed to be second high.
Mm-hmm.
Get a straight, sure as fate, somebody else would have a flush, second high.
The game break up at 1:30?
Well, they played on a little longer without me, 15, 20 minutes. I stayed on because I wanted to make a touch from Steve after the other guys went home.
All right, go ahead.
I didn't know how to bring up the subject. Not that Steve can't afford it. He's got plenty of dough, and he won over a couple of hundred in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of beating around the bush. And all of a sudden, I noticed how drunk he was. Couldn't get his pants on.
Mm-hmm.
Just toppled over on the bed and went to sleep. At least he sure looked like he was asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Money was still laying there on the table where we'd been playing, over $200. I only took 80. That ought to prove I ain't a thief. If I was, I'd have taken it all.
What'd you do then?
I went home.
Did you stop off on the way?
Well, I couldn't have. Ask Judy. She'll tell you. I was there by a little after 2.
Were you in the neighborhood of the tie factory last night?
No, within a half a mile. What's that got to do with it, anyhow?
Where does this friend of yours live?
Steve?
That's right.
A little street just off Western, Gramercy Place.
You got a telephone?
I guess so.
You know the number?
Not offhand. It must be in the book.
I'll check it, Joe. Last name's McGill, huh?
That's right. What the heck's going on here? You guys didn't even know about Steve. He didn't turn me in. Well, who did?
A lot of ties were stolen last night. Factory you used to work for.
Ties?
That's right.
You think I had something to do with it?
Your ex-boss does.
Well, he hasn't got any right to accuse me.
He threatened to make trouble.
Well, I may have sounded off when he fired me, but it was just talk. How could I make trouble for him?
Somebody did. We were unable to contact the suspect's friend, Steve McGill, until the following morning. He confirmed the story Gilroy had told us and refused to press any charges against him. From McGill, we got the names of the other 3 men who had played cards the night the tie factory was broken into. They also confirmed Gilroy's alibi. Sunday, September 11th, 10:46 a.m. Morgan Gilroy was released. Frank and I went back to the office.
Now we got nothing.
That's right.
You think his wife was telling the truth? About him getting home at 2:15.
We can't prove he didn't.
No, I guess not.
Well, it seems to be cooling off a little, doesn't it?
Yeah. Probably would have been able to sleep last night, too.
Yeah.
That's my luck.
Well, maybe you can grab a nap this afternoon.
No, I don't feel right when I sleep in the daytime, Joe. Isn't good for a person, you know. Throws your system right out of whack. Except for my brother-in-law, Armin. He can sleep anytime, any place. No strain at all.
Okay. Burglary Friday. Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Yeah, I've got it. Well, when did it happen? I see. Right. Bye. Men's clothing store out on Crenshaw. Owner came in this morning to do some work on the books.
Uh-huh.
Somebody had jimmied the back door during the night. Sold a supply of suits, slacks, sport coats.
Yeah.
And a batch of hand-painted ties. Frank and I drove out to Nimbo's men's store on Crenshaw Boulevard. We talked to the owner, Carl Nimbo. He showed us how the store had been entered and gave us a description of the stolen merchandise. The thief had apparently followed the same M.O. that had been used on the Prosper Tie Company. We were unable to learn anything more about the suspect's identity. Several days later, a tie shop in Hollywood reported the loss of over 200 knit ties. The following night, a men's clothing store on Wilshire Boulevard was burglarized. Investigation indicated that all these crimes were the work of the same man or men. Burglars who were known to have used similar MOs were interrogated. No leads were developed. Monday, September 19th, 8:06 p.m. Frank and I were getting ready to go off duty.
You want to stop by the house on your way home?
No, I'm pretty tired. I think I'll hit the sack early.
We could watch a little TV. It's supposed to be a good fight tonight.
It's too late for that now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Oh, we could watch something else. You're not going to go to sleep at 8 o'clock, are you?
No.
Well, come on then. I'll get it.
All right.
Gregory Smith. Who? Oh, yes, sir. Sure, I remember. Yes, sir. I see. What's that address? We'll meet you out in front. Right away, yes, sir. Guy owns that tie factory, George Prosper.
Yeah.
He's calling from a bar over on Normandy.
Uh-huh.
One of his stolen ties just walked in.
We drove out to a small bar and grill on the corner of Normandy and Kingsley Drive. George Prosper was standing in front of the place when we pulled up. He walked over to us.
Evening, Mr. Prosper.
Good evening. How are you?
Pretty fair. You sure this is one of your ties now?
Positive. It was a special. Worked out the design myself.
I see.
There isn't another one like it anywhere.
I see. Can you point them out to us?
Mm-hmm. Now, you see, through the window there, that corner booth?
That one there, huh?
Yeah, tall fella sitting alone.
Okay, thanks.
You want me to come in with you?
No, sir, we'll take care of it. We might need you later on, though.
Whatever you say. You know how to get in touch with me.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Night.
Good night, sir.
Well?
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Okay, sit down. Well?
We're police officers.
Okay.
What's your name?
Trendle? Dick Trendle.
You got a job?
Sure.
Doing what?
CPA.
Public accountant?
That's right.
Must make pretty good money, huh?
What makes you think so?
The way you're dressed.
I'm single. I don't have a lot of expenses.
It's a nice suit.
Thanks.
Remember where you bought it?
Sure, San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Went up there on my vacation a week ago.
Can we see the label?
Okay. Okay?
Yeah.
One drink?
No, thanks.
My pleasure.
Nope.
You ever been arrested, Trendle?
Sure.
Tell us about it.
Speeding?
Nothing else.
No.
You get that tie up north, too?
No.
Where'd you get it?
Fellow I met a couple of nights ago. Got to talking to him in a bar.
What bar?
Oh, Olympic down toward town. Don't remember the name of it.
What about this fella?
We were talking. Said he was in the clothing business. Happened to mention my hobby was stamp collecting.
Yeah.
Said sure was a coincidence.
What do you mean by that?
One of his customers was a stamp collector, too. Had the factory make up a special tie for him, designed it like rare postage stamps.
Oh.
This one right here, the one I'm wearing.
Uh-huh.
Offered to sell it to me.
Yeah.
Because the customer was made for it, left L.A.
You have the tie with him?
In his hotel. Took me over there to show me.
What hotel was it?
Oh, I don't know, a little place a couple of blocks away from the bar.
You think you could find it again?
I guess so.
Did you go up to his room?
Yeah, he showed me the tie. Showed me a lot of other clothes, too.
Did you buy anything else?
Nothing else I needed. I stocked up when I was in San Francisco. Didn't need the tie either, but it was a real bargain.
Yeah.
$350, that's all he asked for it. Felt like this was worth at least $7 or $8.
Mm-hmm.
Sure couldn't see how he was making any profit selling it at a price like that.
He made a profit.
Well, it doesn't seem possible. It must have cost him more than $350.
No, it didn't.
Huh?
But it will. Dick Trundle gave us a description of the man who had sold him the tie. He agreed to accompany us to the bar where they'd met. 10:17 p.m. Frank and I interviewed the bartender at the BTJ Cafe on Olympic Boulevard. He remembered the suspect and said he had been in several times during the past week. He couldn't tell us his name or address. We left the bar and canvassed the vicinity for the hotel where the suspect had taken Trundle. 10:58 p.m. Trundle identified the Mortensen Hotel as the suspect's residence. Frank and I went inside and talked to the clerk on duty.
To the best of my knowledge, there's only one person staying here who fits that description. That's Mr. Lafferty.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the nicest gentlemen you ever meet. He's in the clothing business.
Is he around now?
Let me check his box. Yes, he must be in his room. The key's not here.
What room is that?
It's 212. He's very careful, Mr. Lafferty. Always leaves his key at the desk whenever he goes out.
All right, thanks.
He's generous, too. Generous to a fault.
You don't say.
Sure. See this tie? He gave it to me.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
That's too bad.
Hmm?
You may have to give it back. Frank and I walked up to the second floor. Room 212 was at the end of the hall near the fire escape. The transom was open, and we could see a light inside the room.
Who is it?
Come on, open up.
Yes, sir. Just a minute. What can I do for you, Jack?
Police officer, stand still.
Oh, police. You're wasting your time. I don't believe in firearms.
He's light, Joe.
What did I tell you?
All right, where's the stuff?
I suppose you mean the items I stole?
That's what we mean.
I've already managed to dispose of a good deal of it. What's left is in the closet, in the bureau. By the way, the burglar kit's under the bed.
Thanks.
Always believe in cooperating with the police. Things seem to work out better that way.
Yeah.
Although, frankly, I'm surprised you weren't here sooner.
Is that so?
Last week. That's when I was expecting you.
Oh, I'm sorry we were late.
Well, looks like we got everything we need, Joe.
All right, let's go.
You didn't overlook the tools.
Don't worry.
Last week, I was certain you'd be here then.
Mm-hmm.
Right after my second job. I've never been able to pull more than 2 before, without being arrested, I mean.
You don't say.
It was 4 this time, you know.
Yeah, we know.
4 jobs. Well, that's a new record for me.
Well, let's don't let it go to your head, huh?
Oh, I don't take all the credit. If I'd ever worked Los Angeles before, you probably would have found me sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Have to go somewhere else when I get out.
Yeah.
Maybe up north to Seattle. I never worked there.
Mm-hmm.
Might be able to pull 5 jobs before they catch me. Set myself a new record.
Yeah, well, that's not likely.
You'll see. Just wait till I get out.
We won't be around that long.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 7th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Russell Herbert Lafferty was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree, 4 counts. Because of his previous record, he was adjudged to be an habitual criminal and was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Dragnet, the story of your police force in action, is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to auto theft detail. The recovery rate of stolen automobiles in your city has dropped far below normal. Evidence points to an organized gang of car thieves. Your job? Break it up.
It was Tuesday, June 14th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of auto theft detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Nelson. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 11:27 a.m. when we got to 2564 Dewey Avenue. Apartment 3G.
Want to try it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Joe, Frank.
Hi, Whitey.
Hi.
Come on in.
Thanks.
Come on out in the kitchen. I'm washing out some stocks. You don't care if I finish up, do you?
No, go ahead.
I got up this morning. I figured I'd better get it done. Haven't got a clean pair to my name.
Mm-hmm.
Drag a chair and sit down.
Thank you.
What'd you want to see me about?
A couple questions.
I'm not in the fire, am I?
Not with us.
Couldn't remember anything. You never know.
No.
What is it?
You still working at that garage?
Night shift. Check in at 4. This got something to do with my job?
Might have, yeah.
Look, fellas, you know the history. I'm not going to try and hand you a lot of slush, but I'm clean. Half a dozen guys will tell you that. I haven't got off the line since the last time I was tagged.
Well, you're in no trouble, Whitey. We figured maybe you could give us a hand.
Here's the switch. Me giving you some help usually works the other way. What are you looking for?
A lot of cars going someplace, Whitey. We're trying to find out where and who's driving them.
Thought maybe you might have heard a rumble.
There's always something going around.
You got anything?
Won't do me any good if it goes outside.
We won't open the door.
There's supposed to be 3 of them.
What do you know about them?
2 men and a woman. 2 fellas are supposed to be pretty heavy.
Any names?
No, they're playing it pretty close. Even the rumble's not solid.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of days ago, I talked to a guy down at the garage. He was telling me about the operation, said it was big.
You know the people?
Enough to be in the same bar. Told me he tried to get a piece of the action, but they're not cutting any of it.
Can we talk to this guy?
I can't stop you, but I can't give you a hand either.
What do you mean?
I can't tell you where to find him.
Does he come around the garage much?
No, he comes in once in a while, talks, nothing regular.
What's he do for a living?
Drives.
Hmm?
Stock car races.
Oh, I see. So you got a name?
Call him Tops. I don't know the right.
You know what he's talking about?
I think so. He likes to yak, but he sounded straight on this.
Did he give you any details on the operation?
I didn't ask a lot. I figure the less I know about deals like this, the less I can get in trouble.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Huh?
The way that sock is worn. Argyle, good ones. Cost me $5. Look at that hole in the heel, right in the middle of the 2 covers. How do you mend a sock like that?
What do you mean?
Well, how do you sew it up? Use one color and it louses up the argyle part. Use the color of the argyle and it'll go into the foot part. Sock people ought to figure some way around it.
Yeah.
Might as well throw them away.
Any word on what they're doing with the cars?
I didn't hear it. They turn it up?
No, not where we can find them.
Smart.
Are they local people, Wayne?
I don't know. I don't think so. I can't tell you why. I just don't think they're from L.A.
Mm-hmm.
They scoring pretty good?
Yeah, they are. Last 2 weeks, we figured they've taken 6 cars.
Well, how do you lay it on them?
Well, the way they're working, the MO points to the same gang.
What's the pattern?
Cars are taken in the early morning hours from in front of the owner's house.
Jumper wire?
Yeah, all late models. They won't touch anything that isn't fully equipped.
Any special make?
No. As long as the car's a radio and a heater, white sidewalls, they want it.
They're not turning up, huh?
No.
Maybe they're getting them out of the country.
No, that doesn't figure. We've had the border checked. San Diego's working on it. 2 of the jobs, we had the broadcast out within half hour after the car was taken. We couldn't turn anything. Just seemed to disappear.
You must have a big parking lot.
Yeah. You said the 2 men were heavy.
That's right.
How'd you come up with that?
Well, the guy who told me the story, you know, Tops?
Yeah.
When he laid the rumble out, he said he talked with one of the fellas at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Told the guy he'd like a piece of the action. About that time, the roof fell in.
What do you mean?
Well, the guy got real rough. Said there wasn't going to be any split. The action was going to stay in the same corner.
Mm-hmm.
Showed Tops a gun. Said if anything about the operation got out, he'd use it. The way Tops put it, he wasn't kidding.
Did you get any kind of a description of the man?
No.
This Tops fella tell you where the bar was?
Huh.
Well, okay, Whitey. If you hear from him again, will you let us know?
Sure. Call you at the office?
That's right.
Wish I could have given you more. I'll nose around, see if I can pick up anything.
We'd appreciate that. Don't go out on a limb, though.
You don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to line myself up for any trouble I don't need.
Yeah. Well, we'll check you later then, huh?
Yeah. Hope I'll have something for you in the next couple of days.
Well, if you do, it'll put you way ahead.
Hmm?
We've been on it 2 weeks.
Yeah?
We haven't got a place to start. On Saturday, May 27th, the first theft had been reported. The victim said he'd parked his car in front of his house and returned an hour later to find it gone. An immediate local and APB had been gotten out, but the vehicle wasn't found. 3 days later, on May 30th, there was another theft. Same M.O. In spite of all our precautions, the thefts continued. To date, 7 automobiles had been taken, and none of them had been recovered. All possible sources of information had been checked out without result. Outlets for stolen cars had been kept under 24-hour surveillance without netting any new information. The stats office had made runs on each theft and on the general M.O. When the list they returned to us was checked, we were no closer to the thieves. Pressure from the victims and their insurance companies began to build, but there apparently wasn't anything we could do to stop the operation. Frank and I went back to the office and ran the name and description of the man known as Tops through the moniker file. There was no record of such a person. 2 more days passed. Another car was stolen. People in the immediate vicinity were questioned, but none of them had seen the thief. Saturday, June 18th, 11:40 a.m.
Okay. Auto theft, Smith. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Can you hold him? Right. Be right there. Yeah. It's Coach. That was Whitey calling us from the garage.
What's he got?
That fella Tops.
Yeah.
He just walked in.
Frank and I left the city hall and drove over to the garage where our informant worked. He pointed out an elderly man in the rear of the place. We identified ourselves and asked him to step into the office.
What do you want to see me about?
Just a couple of questions.
Well, I ain't done nothing. No reason for you to roust me around.
You're not being rousted.
Well, it sure looks like it from here.
You want to sit down?
I'd rather stand up. It's all the same to you.
All right, suit yourself. You want a cigarette?
Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah, thanks. I got a light.
What's your real name, Tops?
Henry Grayson.
What do you do for a living?
I can get a car, I race.
Stock car?
Yeah.
Where?
Around different tracks.
You live here in L.A.?
Most of the time, come back when I'm not working.
You got a job now?
No, figure to go back east next week. Think I can line something up. Hey, look, you maybe got a lot of time to kill. I haven't. Why don't you tell me what this is all about so I can get out of here?
You ever been arrested?
Huh?
You ever been in jail?
Yeah. What charge? Well, they didn't make it stick.
Well, what were you arrested for?
Grand theft.
Auto or money?
Auto.
Do any time?
I told you, they didn't make it stick.
Where'd this happen?
Idaho.
That's your only arrest, huh?
A couple of times for a bag.
They hold you?
No, give me a floater.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you guys are after something. What is it?
You know anything about a gang of car thieves that have been working here in town?
What?
Stolen cars.
Oh, why should I have anything on it?
We heard you did.
From where?
We heard it.
Is it true? Lousy Whitey. He told you, didn't he?
It's not important where we got the information. We're trying to find out if it's true.
Then you'll have to look someplace else. I got nothing for you.
Where'd you get the nickname Tops?
Huh?
It's a funny name. How'd you get it?
Well, when I was a kid, I had real blonde hair, almost white. Other kids call me Cotton Top, shortened it down.
Mm-hmm. You like driving for a living?
It's all right. Better than working.
You do pretty good at it?
Hmm?
Is there any money in driving?
Well, it depends. Sometimes a good month and a couple of bad ones. Depends.
How do you do?
I'm not starving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you want to know about the stolen cars?
What can you tell us?
Not much.
We'll take what you got.
I got to talking with a guy one night. Subject come up. We kicked it around. Turned out he had a deal going for him.
Friend of yours?
Never saw him before.
All right, go ahead.
Well, that's it. He had this deal working. I don't know anymore.
Why don't you do yourself a favor?
What?
If you're not mixed up in this thing, why are you holding out?
I'm not. I'm giving you what I know. Maybe it isn't the guy's life story, but it's all I got.
All right. From the beginning. Tell us, will you?
What?
Everything this fella said.
You got nothing to hold me on. As far as I'm concerned, it's okay if you do pull me in. A couple of days on the city. Give me rent and food bills.
All right, let's go.
Look, if I had any information, I'd give it to you. No reason for me to hold out.
That's right.
I never saw the guy before. I haven't laid eyes on him since.
Then what do you stand in front of him for?
What?
Makes you look like the patsy for the piece. Anybody takes a beef, it's going to be you.
For what? Sitting in a bar listening to some drunk?
It's more than that, and you know it.
I can't tell you.
Why? These guys too heavy for you, are they? Is that why you won't go along with us? You scared?
If you got to tie it down, that's the reason.
They won't get near you.
You can guarantee it?
We can.
Okay, I'll go. What do you want to know?
The whole story now.
Always much to tell. I was in this bar one night. Two fellas come in. They were both kind of gassed.
Mm-hmm.
Sat down next to me and started to talk.
To you?
No, but they were right next to me. I could hear what they were saying.
All right, go on.
Well, they were talking about this deal. I was all set up. First off, I didn't know what it was all about. Then I heard one of them mention something about cars.
Yeah.
Well, it's like saying something about a new kind of camera around a photographer. As soon as I heard the word cars, I started to listen. Good.
Mm-hmm.
They were having a beef about something. One of them wanted to start unloading right away. The other guy said they should wait for a while, dump them all at once.
Yeah.
Well, they stood there and talked like that for a while, then one of them noticed me listening.
Go ahead.
He leaned over and said something to the other guy, and the next thing I knew, I was surrounded. One of them on each side, leaning on me.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want any trouble. I could see those two guys had a pocket full of it, so I went along with them.
Well, what happened?
Well, they asked me if I liked what I heard.
Yeah.
I told them I didn't hear anything. Said I had very bad ears.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't believe it, said they wanted to talk me outside the bar.
Yeah.
Well, I figured if they got me out there, I'd end up with something broken, so I didn't go. Tried to push me around, but the bartender come over, and they moved away.
What happened then?
Came back, told me if I said anything to anybody but what they were saying, they'd get me. One of them had a gun. He kind of pulled his coat back. I could see it in his belt.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't kidding. Word that I talk to you gets back to him, I'm as good as dead.
Well, don't worry about it.
Did you try and cut yourself in on the deal?
No.
We heard you did.
Well, it's not true. I told Whitey that, but it never happened.
Well, why'd you tell him it did?
Well, I don't know. Trying to be a big man, I guess.
Yeah.
These two fellows hang around the bar?
Huh?
Have you seen the two men around the bar before?
No, it's the first time.
Any of the other people in the place seem to know him?
Mm-mm.
They leave the place before you did?
Yeah, finished up their drinks and walked out.
They have a car?
If they did, I didn't see it. I stayed where I was. Figured maybe they were waiting for me. Didn't leave the place until just before 2.
You think you'd know him again if you saw him?
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
Well, we'd like you to come downtown and look through some pictures.
Well, I don't like to be a finger.
Well, you haven't got much choice, fella.
I suppose not. All right, let's go. Now, don't forget, you guys said you'd take care of me.
We will.
Those fellas find out I'm on your side, they'll try to kill me. Nothing's going to stop them.
Yeah, we think there is.
What?
Us. We took Henry Grayson back to the city hall and had him check the mug books. He was unable to identify the suspects. We ran his name through the record section and found that he had no arrests in the state of California. At his own request, he was returned to his home. Local broadcasts and APBs were put out carrying the description of the 2 male suspects. A week passed without result. Monday, June 27th. I got it. Auto theft Friday. Yes, sir. That's right. Well, when was that? No, we can't take one over the phone. Oh, well, I'm sorry, too. That's right. You live in Hollywood? I see. Well, now, if you'll go down to the police station on Wilcox Avenue. That's right. In Hollywood. They'll take it for you. 1358 between Sunset and Santa Monica. That's right. You betcha. Bye.
Car theft?
Bicycle. Fellow says his kid left it in front of the house, came back, and it was gone. Yes, sir. Something we can do for you?
I'd like to talk to somebody about a stolen car.
Well, sit down. We'll take the information.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, sir. What can we do for you?
You're a policeman?
That's right. It's Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How do you do? I'm Joe Pennant.
Hi.
All right, sir. What do you want to see us about?
I think I bought a stolen car.
Why do you think it's stolen?
Well, just the way it was handled. The whole thing's got something funny about it.
Where's the car now?
I got it parked outside in the other street over there.
Mm-hmm. You have the license number?
Yeah, I have. You want it?
Yes, sir. We can check it for you.
I got it written down here. All the information someplace. Pink slip, too. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Very fine. Thank you.
I'll check it, Joe.
Okay, thanks.
I sure hate to put you in all this trouble.
That's all right.
Feel silly if it turns out okay.
Well, why do you think the car's stolen?
Well, I own this little place up near Lancaster. It's kind of a bar and a couple of cabins for tourists.
Mm-hmm.
We're out of town a ways. We don't do a lot of business, enough to make a pretty good living, but it's all hard work.
Yeah.
Day before yesterday, that was Saturday,
Uh-huh.
this guy come into the place, had something to eat. We got to talk. You know, nothing important.
Yeah.
He told me he's on his way back east to find a job. Talked about how he's having a lot of trouble, lost his job and all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had this new car parked right outside, said he just bought it. Asked me if I knew anybody who'd buy it.
You mean he wanted to sell the car?
Yeah, I said he just got it and he needed the money to get wherever he was going. Told me he paid cash for it and he wanted to get some money out of it.
Yeah.
Said he didn't want to take a loss, but he didn't have the price of gas for it.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to sell it.
All right, go ahead.
I asked him how much he wanted, quoted a figure, $200 under wholesale. It seemed like a good deal, so I bought it.
Yeah.
Then other guys come in and want to sell things. I learned the hard way, so I asked him if he could prove he really owned the car, that he didn't steal it.
Yeah.
I didn't say it like that, you understand. If the deal was honest, I didn't want to scare him off.
Yeah.
Then he showed me the pink slip and told me where he bought the car. It's a place called Brompton Auto Service in Hollywood.
Did you contact them?
Yeah, I put a call right through.
What'd they say?
Well, I went through a big trash about it. I talked to a couple of secretaries before I got to the sales manager. He checked the records. He said the car had been purchased from them. He gave me the man's name and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about the deal then to make me think there was anything wrong. Pink slip, the car people.
Yeah.
I bought it. Gave the man a check. We drove into town, and I dropped him off at the bus terminal. He said he'd cash the check on Monday. That's today.
Yeah.
Happened I had to come into town this morning, checked at the bank, and they told me that the check had cleared. That it was cash first thing they opened the doors. I got worried about it and decided I'd better talk to you.
Yeah. How about it?
Well, stolen, all right.
I had a feeling.
Anything on it?
No, I checked the report.
No.
It's the bunch we're after.
While the victim, Joel Pennant, looked through the mug books, Frank and I went over to the bank and picked up the check the suspect had cashed. The name on the pink slip had been run through R&I, but there was no record on it. The check was handed over to Larry Sloan in handwriting. The pink slip was sent to the crime lab, where it was found to be a forgery. We checked the phone book for a listing on the Brompton Auto Service, but we found none. The victim had made a note of the phone number, and from it we were able to obtain the address where the telephone was installed. It was a large office building on 7th Street. Frank and I went over to see the superintendent.
Yeah, this is where they were at 9:26.
When did they move out?
Oh, sometime over the weekend. I'm not sure of the day. I'm off on Saturday and Sunday.
I see.
Will hardly ever come down to the building on my day off.
Yes, sir.
How long were they in the office?
Oh, a couple of weeks. Said they wanted a place for a month. They paid for it in advance. They told me if things worked out, they'd take a lease.
Yes.
Guess things didn't work out.
Did they leave any forwarding address?
No, they didn't.
What can you tell us about them?
Not much. I only talked to them a couple of times. Seemed nice enough.
Did they tell you what kind of business they were in?
No, said they were trying to get a new product started. Told me most of their work would be over the phone.
Did they pay for the office by check or cash, do you know?
Cash. Said they didn't have their checks printed up yet.
They use a name of any kind?
I don't think I understand you.
Did they call each other by name?
Yeah, they did when they were looking over the office.
Do you remember them?
Let me think a minute. Well, it comes to me, one of them was called Tom. The other one was named Ralph.
No last name?
No, I didn't hear them.
What about the woman?
I called her Lerner. Remember that when they introduced her? Nicky Lerner.
Has the office been cleaned since they left?
No, it hasn't.
All right, sir. We'd like to have some men from our office go over the place.
Sure. Glad to help any way I can.
Fine, thank you. Can you come downtown and look at some pictures for us?
The criminals?
Well, of some possible suspects.
See if I can pick them out, huh?
That's right.
You better will. Wait here, I'll get my coat. Go right with you.
All right, fine.
Well, second thought, you better wait in the lobby. We can go right out the door. It'll be faster.
That'll be fine.
Well, let's go. Gee, I can't hardly wait to get home and tell my wife what's happened.
Uh-huh.
She's all the time after me because I never have nothing interesting to tell her at night.
Yes, sir.
It'll be different this time. Give her a story that'll really make her mouth hang open. Sure gonna be a doozer.
Yeah.
You guys could do me a favor, though.
What's that?
Could you drive me home after I look at the pictures?
We'll see that you get there, yes, sir.
I'd like it to be in a black and white car, if you can swing it.
All right.
Make the story more exciting, hard-hitting.
Yeah.
Something else, if I come home in a black and white police car.
What's that?
My wife will believe me.
We took the superintendent down to the city hall, but he failed to identify the suspects. The crime lab crew went over the office they had used, but they were unable to find any useful information. Another week passed. During that time, we had reports that 4 of the stolen cars had been sold. The circumstances in each case were the same. In each instance, we checked out the address the suspects had used as a front without result. Tuesday, July 5th, Frank and I walked into the squad room.
No, it's not the same, Joe. Not the same at all. It's all changed.
It has.
Sure. Don't make any difference how you try. It just doesn't come off.
What are you talking about?
The 4th, Joe. The 4th.
The 4th, huh?
Yeah. Remember how when we were kids they had firecrackers and them torpedo things you threw against buildings, stuff like that?
Yeah.
No more. All they got now is sparklers, and them fountain things.
That's all.
Yeah. Well, they're nice. They look pretty, but it's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting up on the morning of the 4th. You see who the first kid in the block was to get a can in the air. Real contest, like.
What?
Get a can in the air. Put a firecracker under a can, light it off. Real contest in our block, so you could be the first one in the morning of the 4th. Didn't you ever do that?
Yeah.
Well, we sure did. Never forget it. No, it's not the same now.
Yeah, but it's a lot safer now, isn't it? I got it. Auto theft Friday. Yeah. Uh-huh. That sure might be. That's worth checking anyway. Right, we'll be right over. It's Mott over in forgery.
Yeah?
Just picked up a printer, been cashing checks.
Uh-huh.
Checked his plant, found something we might be able to use.
What?
65 pink slips. We went over to room 29 and met with Sergeant Hal Mott. He told us that he and his partner had picked up a suspect on suspicion of forgery. When they searched the man's home, they found a printing plant where the suspect had been making up phony checks. They'd also found master plates for automobile pink slips and a quantity of the slips themselves. Under questioning, the suspect admitted the forgeries but denied any knowledge of the automobile registrations. Frank and I took him to the interrogation room.
Your true name is Harry Larwill, is that right?
Yeah.
You want to tell us about those pink slips?
I don't know anything about them.
You printed them, didn't you?
I guess so.
Well, and don't you know?
I printed them.
What were you going to do with them?
I did it for kicks, nothing more.
For practice?
Yeah.
Do you think a story like that's going to stand up in court?
Look, I copped out to the forgery rap. Isn't that enough for you guys?
We want to know about those pinks.
I already told you.
How many counts did they get on you?
I don't know, 10 or 12.
Well, and you know you're not going to do that stand on your head. You'll stand 1 to 14 on each count.
It's a lot of time if they run consecutively.
Now, come on. Why'd you print the slips?
What happens to me if I tell you?
What do you mean by that?
We'll make it an easier on me?
We don't decide that.
Well, you see, the judge knows, huh?
We'll put it down like that, yeah. Now, tell us about it, will you?
I made them up for Tom and Ralph.
Who are they?
A couple of guys I know. They come to me with this deal, said if I'd make them 100 slips, they'd give me $1,000. I needed the money, so I did the job.
Yeah.
Well, after I made them, Ralph said they could only use 45 of them. Then we had a beef. He gave me 500, and I gave him the pinks.
You know where you can pick up your friends?
Yeah. Apartment out in Hollywood.
The girl there, too?
Who do you mean?
Understand her name's Nikki.
Oh, yeah. Ralph's wife. Yeah, I guess she should be around.
When'd you see him last?
Yesterday. Ralph called me in the morning. Told me they was interested in the rest of the slips. Wanted to know if we could make a deal.
What'd you tell him?
Yeah, we could. I'm supposed to meet him this afternoon.
Where?
Drugstore on Sunset. He told me 3 of them were going to leave town.
All right.
You going to pick them up?
That's right.
Guess they had a good thing going for them. Sure we're raking in the dough.
Yeah.
Ralph told me about it. Said they were coining money. Kind of hate to see it broken up.
You do?
Yeah. Good deal like that. Good ones are hard to come by these days. Takes a lot of time to set one up.
Mm-hmm.
Break this one up, they'll have to sit down and figure another way to make a buck. Kind of hurts to think about it.
It does.
Yeah, good deal like that shot. It really hurts me.
Think what it's going to do to them.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 10th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Ralph Norwood Prescott, Thomas Dean Bolton, and Nicky Lerner Prescott were tried and convicted of grand theft auto, 5 counts, and received punishment as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment for a period of from 1 to 10 years in the state penitentiary.
Ladies and gentlemen, careless driving is kid stuff. Most automobile accidents happen when we forget to act our age and drive carefully. Letting off steam, defying authority, showing off risks a driver's life as well as the lives of other people. In your car, act your age. The life you save may be your own.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. You get a call from Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. A 2-year-old child has been brought in. Her condition is critical. There's evidence of foul play. Your job? Check it out.
It was Sunday, August 14th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from detention cells, and it was 7:28 p.m. when I got to the second floor of Georgia Street Juvenile. Squad room.
Hi, how'd it go?
Nothing. Those kids won't cop to a thing.
What about the weapons?
They only admit they had them, and that's all.
Nothing about what they were going to do with them?
No.
I don't know, Joe. Today, kids got a lot more than we ever had. TV, cars, a lot of things.
Yeah.
Still seems like they aren't happy unless they're figuring how to beat somebody's brains out.
Well, it doesn't go for all of them.
Well, enough to give us a headache.
Yeah.
And take those kids upstairs. If they spent the same time doing something constructive that they do making the zip guns and saps, they'd have something worthwhile, something worth remembering.
Well, maybe it'll work out the same way.
What do you mean?
They won't forget this. Juvenile Friday. Yeah, Doc. Why don't you come in? Anybody with her? Give me that again, will you? Yeah, I got it. Okay. We'll check it. That's right. We'll get back to you later. Thanks, Doc. Bye. It was Dr. Sebastian.
Yeah?
Just brought a little girl into emergency. Had convulsions.
How's she doing?
Dead on arrival. Frank and I notified Homicide Division, then we left the office and drove out to the address I'd gotten on the phone. 1784 Malabar Street was a small wooden house set on the back of the lot. A dead oak tree in the front yard was overgrown with ivy. Several broken and rusted children's toys were half hidden in the weeds near the front porch. We rang the front doorbell.
Somebody ought to be home. The lights are on.
Let's try it again. Yes,
Yes?
Miss Manson?
That's right. What do you want?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
We have to go through it all again. Don't you think I feel bad enough about it?
We're sorry to bother you, ma'am, but there's some questions we have to ask you.
All right, come on in. You might as well sit down.
Thank you. Thank you. This is Frank Smith, and my name's Friday. How do you do, Miss Manson?
Hello.
You're the child's aunt, is that right?
Yeah, her mother's my sister.
And where's her mother?
I don't know. I've been trying to get in touch with her. Left messages all over town, but I guess she ain't got any of them.
The child stay with you, does she?
Yeah. Been here since she was 6 months old. Feel like she was my own.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 3 kids myself, all boys. Always wanted a girl. When Joan said I could have Melissa, it made me feel real good. Like a daughter of my own, real good.
Mm-hmm.
No, it didn't make any difference to Joan. None at all. Wasn't anything that mattered much to her. I always thought Melissa was something that shouldn't have happened. In the way, that's what she said.
Yes, ma'am.
In the way.
Mm-hmm. What happened this evening?
What do you mean?
Well, you're the one who called the hospital, aren't you?
Yeah. As soon as I knew there was something wrong, called him.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happened?
Well, this is Sunday.
Yes.
Every Sunday morning, Joan comes by and picks up Melissa, takes her for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Just like always, she was here this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be a big day. She told the baby they were going up to Griffith Park to the zoo, see the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we all sat around and ate. My kids and baby and Joan, and the kids went to get dressed.
Yeah.
After she was dressed, they left. Joan and Melissa going to the zoo on the ride. Real big day, real big.
Mm-hmm.
About 6 they came back.
That's this evening?
Yeah, 6 o'clock. The baby didn't look real good, kind of hot and flushed.
Yeah.
I asked Joan if she'd given her a lot of junk. She said no, nothing that had hurt her. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Just came in the house and then she left. Said she had an appointment, that she couldn't be late. Just dumped the baby inside the house and walked out.
I see.
I gave her a bath. Thought it might make her feel better. She was running a little fever. Warm bath's supposed to bring down her temperature. Didn't do any good at all. I asked her if she was hungry, and she said she was, so I gave her some dinner. Had no more than taken one bite, and she had the first sip.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting right there at the table, and she had it. I didn't know what to do. Never had nothing happen like that before. I didn't know what to give her.
Did you call the doctor?
Yeah. We don't have a telephone, so I went down to the corner. There's a booth at the gas station.
Yeah.
Didn't want to leave the baby alone, but there wasn't any other way. Nothing else I could do.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Doctor wasn't at home. I left word for him to come right over, and then I came back. Didn't no sooner walk into the house than she had another fit. Scared me to death. Poor little thing sitting there. I could see she was in pain, terrible pain, and there wasn't anything I could do for her.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't wait anymore. I went back and called the emergency hospital, asked them to send an ambulance. Told them it was important and to send somebody right away. A couple of minutes after that, the men got here and took her away. Poor little thing.
Yes, ma'am.
She looked at me like asking me to stop the pain, begging me, almost tore my heart right out of my chest to see her so little. Almost killed me.
Yes.
She was dead when they got her there. Didn't even live long enough for them to try and save her. Not even that long.
Yes, ma'am, we know.
Just a baby. 2 years old and she's dead. Just a tiny little baby. It hardly seems fair. A lot of people could die and it wouldn't make any difference, but not her. She was beautiful. Just beautiful, like my daughter, like my own.
You sure there isn't something we can get for you, Miss Manson?
No, nothing. Isn't anything that'll help now. Nothing at all.
Ma'am, has there been any history of this type of attack in your family?
You mean fit?
Epilepsy? Anything of that nature?
No, never been anything like that.
Well, now, did the child tell you that she felt sick?
Mm-mm. We didn't have no idea there was something wrong until it was too late.
Did she complain of stomach cramps, do you remember?
No, she didn't.
What'd you have for dinner?
Ground meat, potatoes, green beans. Couldn't have been that made her sick. We all ate the same thing. The kids and me, none of us had any trouble.
Mm-hmm. Is your sister separated from her husband?
Yeah, they hadn't been together for over a year. Been that long anyway, I suppose. He's supposed to contribute support, but he doesn't. Not a dime.
I see. Did she provide support for the little girl?
She was the baby's mother, but that's as far as it went. Came to caring for Melissa, and it landed in my lap. Remember when she had roseola? Joan didn't even come over and see her. Just didn't care. Mailed a little doll for the baby. Guess that was supposed to make up for her mother not being there.
Can you tell us where we can contact your sister?
Sure. Place over on Hewitt Street. Got an apartment there.
You have the address?
Yeah. Won't do much good to go over there, though.
Why's that?
She probably ain't home. Chances are she's out someplace running around having a good time.
I see.
Don't even know that baby's dead. Hasn't got the slightest idea.
I will go and see her.
Hope you won't mind waiting for her to show up. You're going to have to. Probably wait a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
She don't care about the baby. Never did. Told me a couple of times. Just a rock around her neck. Talked about how hard it was for her to get a husband with a kid. All the time how the baby was making it hard for her.
Mm-hmm.
All she ever thought about herself. Didn't want anything to interfere with that. Just herself. She won't care about the baby. She won't care at all. Probably won't even talk to you.
I think she will.
Why should she? No reason for her to even see you.
Yes, there is.
What?
We're trying to find out why the child died.
Oh, she just got sick, that's all. Isn't anything more to it. Melissa just got sick.
You seem pretty sure about it.
Of course I am. Couldn't be anything else. You think there was anything else? You think there was something wrong?
We don't know yet.
Well, then talk to Joan. Ask her. Anything wrong with Melissa that happened today? She ought to be able to tell you. Talk to her.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we'll do.
Hope it does you some good. Wouldn't surprise me a bit if she knows what had happened.
What's that?
She's probably got an idea. I wouldn't want her to know I told you this.
What do you mean?
If there's something wrong with the way Melissa died, if there is...
Yes, ma'am.
It wouldn't surprise me if Joan killed her.
Frank and I left the house and drove over to the apartment on Hewitt Street. The name on the mailbox read Joan Guyman. We rang the bell, but there was no answer. We talked to the landlady, Mrs. Enid Findon. She told us that the Guyman woman had left the place about 7:15 in the company of a man, and she hadn't returned. We asked her what she could tell us about Miss Guyman.
It's kind of hard to say right off. She's funny, you know how I mean?
No, ma'am.
Well, there's a lot of people who don't like her, lots of them. They think she's kind of wild, the way she runs around, partying up. You'll hear a lot of talk about her. Got to kind of make up your own mind about it.
Mm-hmm. You got any idea where we can find her?
No, could be in half a dozen places. If she starts on a run, she's liable not to slow down for a couple of days.
You know the man she's with?
Sorry, I can't help you there. I've seen him before, but not many times. I don't think Joan goes out with him much.
Mm-hmm.
Something wrong?
No.
Something happened to Joan?
No, ma'am.
Must be some reason you're nosing around. Anything you want to tell me?
It might be a little better if we talk to Miss Guyman.
That's the way you want it. I ain't going to pry into something don't concern me.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever met Mrs. Guyman's little girl?
You mean Melissa?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Two of them been here several times. Sundays, you know, Joan has a little girl.
How they seem to get along.
What?
Miss Guyman and her daughter. How do they get along?
Well, you said it yourself. Melissa's her daughter.
Yeah.
What have you heard?
Huh?
Somebody's been talking about how Joan treats the kid.
Well, maybe you better tell her.
I don't want to get her in no trouble. You understand that?
Yeah.
Well, I'd be down here watching the television, maybe doing some ironing, and I'd hear Joan yell at the baby. Loud. She used words a kid shouldn't hear, not that young.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, not that those kind of words are ever good for a youngster, but sure not for one only 2 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, she'd yell for a while, then it'd be quiet. Guess she hit the kid a couple times. Things calmed down.
Now, do you know if Mrs. Guyman ever hit her daughter?
Well, sure. I saw it with my own eyes. We had words about it. Well, Joan told me to mind my own business. Said to keep my nose where it belonged. Told me how Melissa was her kid, and if she thought a slap would do some good, she was going to give it.
Mm-hmm.
She did. Only a couple times they weren't slaps.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. With a closed fist. They're right along here. Right above the ear. A couple times in the face. I saw the kid with a black eye myself, sure.
Does Mr. Guyman see his wife?
Not that I know. He said a couple times that he doesn't. I don't think she even knows where he is. Kind of sad, you know.
Yeah?
What happened? That's how all the trouble started. Mr. Guyman. Both of them used to live here when they got married. First off, they seemed pretty happy. Didn't have no idea there was anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the baby was born, the trouble started. Wasn't long before the whole building knew about it. Of course, there was a couple of people who had an idea before.
What's that?
About her.
Yeah?
Oh, running around, down to the bars, drinking, talking with other men. Now, I'm not a prude. Never been anybody who would say that about me. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't believe in married women doing it. Not them.
That's what caused the trouble, then, huh?
You just put it down to that. Oh, my, they had some big arguments. Big ones. Hear them all over the building. All over the block, I guess, if he was listening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't long after that he walked out on her. Left her flat with the baby.
I see.
Packed right up and moved out. Even took his phonograph records, everything. Don't think she's seen him since.
Well, are they divorced, do you know?
I don't know about that. A couple times she's talked about getting one. I don't think she's ever gone through with it.
I see.
No, she's planning on it.
Okay.
She wants to get married again. Told me that 100 times, how she wants to find a man and settle down. Just about all she talks about. Guess the big problem is Melissa.
What do you mean?
Well, I know she's had the chance. I know that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them have even talked to me about it. About how they want to marry Joan. Build a home for her. All comes back to the same thing.
What's that?
The kid. None of the men want a ready-made family. They're all willing to have one of their own, but it ain't easy for a woman with a 2-year-old child. Not easy at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know she thought a couple of times about leaving the kid with his sister. Some kind of problem there, too. Seems they were always fighting about it.
Do you know what the arguments were about?
Sure. Joan's sister didn't think she was doing enough to support the kid, Figured she ought to have more money.
Any of these quarrels ever get violent?
Yeah, I heard them upstairs, yelling and screaming at each other. Almost as bad as Joan and her husband. Sister saying that either she had to hand over more money or else take Melissa out of the house. Joan saying that she didn't care what happened to the kid, yelling all over the place. Terrible the way they carried on.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest about it, I don't think either one of them really wanted the little girl. Neither one of them.
Is that right?
Both been just as happy if she'd never been born. Poor little kid. Wonder they didn't try to put her in another home, Find some people who wanted her. But given her a chance to grow up being loved.
That's right.
Least they could have done, given the little kid a chance. Oh, I don't know. Maybe someday Joan will wake up, realize what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she will.
Let's hope it's not too late. In the company of the manager, Frank and I checked Joan Guyman's room. There was no indication that she wasn't going to return. We asked Miss Bindon to notify us as soon as she heard from the Guyman woman. We returned to the office and checked with the crime lab. They'd finished going over the child's clothing, and they hadn't found anything out of order. We put in a call to the coroner's office, and we talked to Chief Deputy Coroner Vic Wallage. He told us that the autopsy would be held at 10 a.m. the following morning, and that we should have the results by 11. He went on to say that in his examination of Melissa Guyman, he'd found several bruises on her neck and back. However, he was unable to tell us if the blows might have been strong enough to cause her death. 12:16 a.m., we ran the names Joan Guyman and her sister through R&I. There was no record on the sister, but we found that the Guyman woman had been arrested several times in the last year on charges of 4127A, drunk. The rest of the night was spent in checking out the places she was known to have frequented. An attempt was made to find her husband without result. The next day, Frank and I met in the squad room early to put through a call to the coroner's office. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about the bruises? I see. How long is that going to take? Right. We'll keep in touch with you. Okay. Bye.
How about it?
They finished.
What's the cause of death?
They're still not sure.
What do you mean?
They think she might have been poisoned. The autopsy had failed to show the cause of death of Melissa Guyman. Further tests were to be conducted. In the meantime, the search for her mother continued. A check with the landlady showed the victim's mother hadn't returned to her home during the night. We contacted her sister, but she told us she hadn't heard from Joan Guyman. The afternoon papers carried a story on the little girl's death. Frank and I checked with Sergeant J. Allen again, but he hadn't come up with anything new. 3:20 p.m.
You want to go out and see the sister?
I don't think it's going to do much good. She said she'd call if she heard anything.
Yeah. I got it. You have an old spare? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have. Well, where are you? All right, stay right there. That's right. Huh? As soon as we can. Joan Guyman.
Where is she?
Bar down on East 5th.
She know about the little girl?
Yeah, wants to see us right away.
Well, it makes us even.
She's got more of a reason. Says she killed her daughter.
Frank and I left the city hall and drove over to the bar. When we walked into the place, it appeared to be deserted. The bartender told us there was a woman answering the description we gave him in one of the rear booths. Joan Guyman was in her late 20s, but she looked at least 40. She'd been drinking heavily, and she'd been crying.
Yeah? Somebody you're looking for?
You're Miss Guyman?
That's right. Who are you?
Police officers. Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Yeah. I knew you'd be here. Look good. Why don't you sit right down and make yourself comfortable? Which one of you fellas I talked to?
You talked to me.
Yeah. Well, then you know why I asked you to come down here.
Yes, ma'am. You want to tell us about it?
No.
How's that?
You asked me if I wanted to talk about it. Well, I don't. I don't even want to think about it. I wish it never happened.
Is that right?
You probably think it's funny I'm not crying, don't you? Don't you? You think there's something wrong with me? My baby's dead and I'm not crying? Well, do you want to know why? You want to know?
Why don't you tell us, lady?
Because there ain't no tears left. Not a single one. I'm all cried out.
That's why.
You better put that down. You've had enough of that.
I think I'll have a lot more. A lot more.
You said you killed your little girl, is that right?
That's right.
Well, tell us about it, will you?
No reason not to. No reason for anything anymore.
All right, go ahead.
I killed her. It's like I'd put a gun up to her head. I killed her. Is this the same?
Go ahead.
Oh, poor old kid. She didn't want much. Hardly anything. One of those dolls with the hair you can wave, that's all. The doll with curly hair and her mother. And she got the doll. I gave it to her yesterday when we came back from the zoo. Makes her think how happy she was. She was happy.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I wouldn't give her. No mother. Poor little kid. She doesn't have no mother. Just me, that's all. It's me.
Yeah.
That's how I did it.
What's that?
Killed her. If I'd been her mother and kept her with me, it never would have happened. She'd be all right now. Neglect. That's what did it. Neglect. And I gave it to her. Never paid no attention to her. All the time, too busy with what I was doing. I didn't pay any attention to her. I didn't pay any attention at all.
All right, come on, lady.
Where are we going?
Downtown.
What for?
I think we'll be able to talk better there.
Oh, I don't want to go anyplace. I'm going to stay right here. My baby is dead. Poor little kid didn't have no mother. Why don't you just go away and leave me alone?
You know we can't do that.
Why not? There are a lot of something that says you gotta harm people. Is that what you're doing?
Right. Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. You leave me alone. You got no right to do this to me. Bartender, come on back here and help. These lousy cops are giving me trouble. Help me.
Come on, lady. You're only making it harder on yourself.
Leave me alone. Get away from me.
Come on, don't cause any more trouble.
If you were a gentleman, you wouldn't do this to me.
If you were a lady, we wouldn't have to. We took the woman back to the city hall. After several cups of hot coffee, she straightened out enough to give us a story. She went over each step of the previous day, naming all the places she and her daughter had gone and all of the foods they'd eaten. There was no apparent cause for the child's death. In talking to her, we found that the child was wearing different clothing when she was brought to the hospital. Frank and I drove out to Mrs. Guyman's sister's home and picked up the dress and the coat the little girl had worn. It was turned over to the crime lab, 2:15 p.m. Funeral Friday. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to check it. Right. Yeah, as soon as we know. Right. Ray Pinker over at the lab.
Yeah?
Just finished going over the little girl's dress.
Find anything?
A couple of stains.
Yeah?
Traces of poison. Along with the crew from the crime lab, Frank, Mrs. Guyman, and I went back to her apartment where a thorough search was started. From the analysis of the stains found on the child's dress, Sergeant J. Allen said the death might have been caused by minute quantities of poison in another fluid. While he and his crew went over the apartment, Frank and I talked to Mrs. Guyman.
Couldn't be anything here.
Was the child alone at all yesterday?
No, I don't think so. We went to the zoo and came back here. Gave her the doll, and we played with that for a while.
Mm-hmm. Did you leave the apartment at all?
Yeah. Went down to the corner to make a phone call. Only gone a couple of minutes.
Your daughter was here alone then?
Yes, but she couldn't have gotten into anything. I was only gone a little while. I was still playing with the doll when I got back.
Miss Guyman, our crime lab seems to think she might have been poisoned by some sort of polish.
Well, what do you mean?
Looks like a metal polish of some kind.
I don't have any of that in the house.
You sure?
Certainly. I don't know. My place. They have to tear everything up like this.
It'll all be straightened out.
I hope so. Seems like there's never going to be an end to it.
Joe?
Yeah, Jay.
See you, man?
Mm-hmm. What do you got?
I think this is it. I found out in the kitchen under the sink.
Metal polish.
Yeah.
Isn't one of the standard brands. Certainly isn't one of the off brands either, is it?
I've never seen it before.
Wow.
The bottle's almost empty. The cap was off when we found it.
Any chance it might have spilled out?
No, it doesn't look like it. Not on the floor around the bottle. If you want to come out in the kitchen, we'll check it for prints. All right. We got the kid out there.
All right. Can you tell for sure, Jay?
No, we can get an idea, though. There, Joe, it's coming through. You see that?
Yeah. What do you think?
After all, the child's prints, to be sure. Looks like it, though. The fingers are pretty small. There you can see yourself. Pretty tiny.
I guess that does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
What'd they find? You know how it happened?
We think so, yeah.
How?
We found an empty bottle of metal polish in the kitchen. Looks like your daughter drank some of it.
She couldn't have. I was with her all the time. She couldn't have gotten to it.
You said you left her alone.
But not that long. She didn't have time. I was only gone a couple of minutes. That's all. Just a couple of minutes.
That was long enough.
It's not true. Just making it up, trying to make it all my fault.
No, ma'am.
Yes, you are. You're trying to make out I did kill her. You're saying it's my fault. Well, it isn't.
Well, then you tell us.
Huh?
Whose fault is it?
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 18th, an inquest was held in the coroner's office in and for the county of Los Angeles, state of California. After examining all the evidence, a coroner's jury decided that the death of Melissa June Guyman was due to accidental poisoning.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.